Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this afternoon's live commentary coverage for the NASCAR Cup Series O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race, the HyVee Perks 250 from Iowa Speedway. As we get started with some short track racing over the course of Saturday and Sunday in Middletown, Newton, Iowa, for today's race first, and obviously the Cup Series race as well tomorrow. Cup Series qualifying wrapped up a little over an hour ago. Ryan Blaney will be on the pole for that one. And as we get started for today's race, may we see an upset winner. Ryan Sieg on the pole for this one, his first pole of the season. Longtime veteran of the series, still searching for his first career win. He's had a couple of runner-ups in recent years. And although he is nearly out of chase contention, maybe trying to put forth a pretty good run in these final two races of the regular season. We've got this weekend after the off week last week for this series, and then two more off weeks before the regular season finale at Daytona. Ross Chastain, a Cup Series driver, the only one in the field today, will be starting on the front row with Ryan Sieg. And we'll go through the starting lineup for the rest of today's HyVee Perks 250 as follows. In row number one, again, Ryan Sieg and Ross Chastain. Row two will be last week's winner at Indianapolis, Carson Kvapil, alongside Raja Karuta, who will finish out the rest of 2026 in the 88 for Junior Motorsports. In row number three will be the series points leader, regular season champion Justin Allgaier, alongside Sheldon Creed. In row four, Jeremy Clements, who had a pretty good run at Indy, won a stage in that race, and Corey Day, who should be a threat for the win today as well. And row number five will be for Junior Motorsports, Sammy Smith and Parker Retzlaff, who are inside the chase cut line looking to clinch a spot this weekend. And row six will be Jesse Love and Jeb Burton. Row number seven for Taylor Gray and Nick Sanchez in the 87. Row eight, Brandon Jones and Harrison Burton. Row 9 for William Sawalich is the first driver outside the chase cut line, and one of the drivers on the inside of the bubble, rookie Brent Cruz. Anthony Alfredo and Carson Brown will be in the 32 for Jordan Anderson Racing in row 10, Brown making his series debut. Kyle Sieg with Patrick Staropoli in row 11, Sam Mayer starting deep in the field in row 12 alongside LeVar Scott. Bling Perkins, Brennan Poole will be in row 13, row 14 for Dean Thompson, and Austin Hill double duty again this weekend. Mason Maggio and Derek Lemke will be in row 15. Row 16, Nathan Berg, Ryan Ellis. Garrett Smithley, Joey Gase in row number 17, row 18, Josh Bilicki and Tyler Tomasi. In row number 19, rounding out the field, Carson Ware in 37th out of 37 for the starting grid. Pace car has just pulled the pit road, and we will be going green this time by. Our stage splits day will be 60 laps in both stage 1 and stage 2. Final stage will be 130 laps to take us to the end of this 250-lap race around this nearly three-quarter-mile short track. Green flag is in the air. We are underway, and Ryan Sieg will lead the field, rumbling down into turns 1 and 2. Good start for Sieg as he elected the outside of row number 1, and slipping up the racetrack was Raja Karuta from row number 2 in that fourth place starting position. Got a little bit up out of the groove and sideways, had a big wobble, lost a few positions, trying to regather now as he comes into this race outside the chase cut line. He has been splitting rides this season between both the 88 at Junior Motorsports and the 32 at Jordan Anderson Racing this season. As he finishes out the rest of 2026 with JRM, we'll see if he can make a push for the chase in these last two regular season races. And then obviously if he's in, we'll see what he can do in those final 10 races of the chase as well. It is a 10-race chase for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series season. Only 12 drivers qualify for that said chase, and we do have quite a few drivers who are actually locked up on points entering this weekend. As we get things started here today, Justin Allgaier has clinched the regular season championship. He is not only the number 1 seed, but obviously locked in. Carson Kvapil with the win at Indy last week is locked into the chase on points as well, second in the regular season standings now. Jesse Love sits in third. Fourth is Sheldon Creed, Corey Day fifth, Brandon Jones sixth, Austin Hill seventh. The top 7 in points are locked into the chase, so 5 spots are open entering the weekend. 98 points above the cut line is Sammy Smith, 8th in the standings. Parker Retzlaff plus 59 is sitting 9th, and rounding out the top 10 is Sam Mayer at plus 29 points. Plus 13 for Brent Cruz, the rookie. Plus 12 for Taylor Gray, as he is the last driver above the cut line. 7 points ahead of his teammate William Sawalich, who sits 13th. So you got 3 JGR Toyotas there, 11, 12, and 13th in points. Raja Karuta, as mentioned moments ago, good qualifying effort. Slip up on the opening lap. He is 20 points below the cut line. Ryan Sieg, pole sitter today, minus 74, but not mathematically out of it. Anthony Alfredo, minus 121, long shot, 16th in points. Has had better runs in recent weeks leading up to the off week last weekend. Sieg setting one of the fastest laps of the race early on and is already out to a 1.4-second lead. His fastest lap on lap 5 a couple laps ago, 24.633, as he's led every lap from the pole out of the first 7 complete now. Working lap number 8, our top 5 in the running order. Ryan Sieg, again, is the leader. Ross Chastain second. Justin Allgaier up to third. Carson Kvapil fourth. And Sheldon Creed finishes out the top 5 in fifth. All Chevrolets inside the top 9 positions. Highest running Toyota, Brandon Jones in 10th. And we don't really have any Fords in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series field. The only one, Joey Gase, in the 55 car for today's race back in 30th. Kvapil getting his first career series win last week at an Indy. Last race at Indy 2 weeks ago. Good to have that happen for him as he jumps up to the number 2 seed in a fight for the regular season championship. And kind of like Rajah Caruth, Carson Kvapil's been splitting rides this season. He's actually ran 3 different cars this year, 2 of them at Junior Motorsports, between the number 1, which he will be driving the rest of the season, and obviously was full-time in that car last year. He has also been making some starts in the number 9 this season as well. And the 92 with the Mario Gosling-owned race team, he has also made some starts in that car. So the fact that he is second in points, doing what he's doing, finally got that first win, that is going to be huge for him. Now he doesn't have to worry about, am I ever going to win in this series? Now he can strictly go for the championship. He has been a driver who's been very consistent. He made the Final Four last season in, of course, the previous playoff format. So for him to be consistent in a 10-race stretch, considering the first 22 races, he's up to second with those 3 different teams. Being in the same car over those final 10 weeks is going to be huge for him. And as he completes his second full-time season in this series, maybe Justin Allgaier isn't a lock after all for that championship. He is locked into the regular season title. He actually clinched that with 4 races to go in the regular season, so he has been the regular season champ the last couple of weeks. And the points scrolling across the top of the screen that you see, again, I do have the Chase Bubble Battle going into these final couple races of the regular season. So only a 24-race regular season in this series. It is a shorter schedule, of course, than that of Cup, 33 races total. So a 10-race chase with only 12 drivers making the chase in this series of the full-time regulars. Time is winding down. Again, you got this weekend at Iowa, and 2 weeks from now, they will be at Daytona before the chase begins the following weekend, Darlington. Last 2 off weeks for the O'Reilly Series will be the next 2 weeks, so it'll be 11 weeks consecutive to the end of the season once they go to Daytona at the end of the month. For those of you watching the stream early on, shoutouts to Bam Hall, AJF, JoJo, Steve J, Emogene Blevins, Raymond, Joss, Dean Tate. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Yeah, it is unfortunate there's no Fords in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Kind of crazy, though, we figured Dodge Ram back in the Truck Series, too. You got 4 manufacturers in truck and pretty much only 2 of them in the O'Reilly Series. Maybe, just maybe, we see Dodge Ram making that push to the NASCAR Cup Series next year. 14 laps of the race, side-by-side commercial break on the CW right now, which is where you can watch visually for every NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race all season long. 1.7-second lead for Ryan Sieg, now a 2-second lead as he was nearly 0.3 quicker than Ross Chastain that last time by. Sieg really whipping the field right now. We'll see how that works for him. We saw an upset winner in Stage 1 last week with Jeremy Clements, but those smaller teams, they just don't have the better pit crews to that of the Junior Motorsports of the world. The Haas teams, the Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas, those guys are having Cup teams and high-quality Cup teams that pit those cars. Of course, JGR getting their JGR teams to pit those race cars every weekend. Junior Motorsports having that alliance with Hendrick, so you got the Hendrick pit crews working on those cars, and you go down to these smaller teams like Ryan Sieg. That's a family-owned race team. They're not able to leech from the top-tier equipment per se. The same for Jeremy Clements a couple weeks ago. That was another family-owned team for the 51. So while they showed some great speed, once they got mired back in traffic, they couldn't really come back from it. We'll see if Ryan Sieg can maintain track position today. The good news is with it being a short track is that if he has a decent distance at the end of the stages, he can maybe put some lap traffic between himself and second place, which creates more of a buffer for when pit road does open at the stage ends. Obviously, we need some long green flag runs to kind of help with that as well. And we'll see how much tire fall off we're going to have today on a relatively old surface on the straightaways, but the corners still holding a decent amount of speed and grip with the corners being repaved on the bottom 2/3 of both turns 1 and 2, as well as turns 3 and 4 before the first Cup race here in 2024. Justin Allgaier moving up to second, passing Chastain during the commercial break, and he is within 2 seconds of Sieg, and that last time by was about 0.05 of a second quicker than the race leader. Allgaier, former Iowa winner in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Top 10 in the running orders were more than a third of the way through stage number 1. 21 laps complete out of 250. Ryan Sieg is out in front. Trading lap times back and forth between he and the second place driver, Justin Allgaier. Now he's 2.3 seconds ahead as he works through lap traffic at the back of the field. 39 car in first, the 7 in second. Ross Chastain dropped to third during the commercial break. Carson Kvapil maintains in fourth, and Sheldon Creed in fifth just as he started the race. Jesse Love in the 6th place position after starting in 11th is up 5 spots. Sammy Smith is 7th. Raja Karut fell back to 8th after starting 4th. Brandon Jones up 6 spots tonight, and Sam Mayer up 13 positions to 10th place on the move early on. And in the first 10 minutes, that rounds out the top 10 in the running order. Patrick Chatterley, good afternoon to you as well. Yep, new rule change this week. First weekend of that across the top 3 series. If there's a caution in the final 10 laps of both stage 1 and stage 2, then that would end the stage early, so they could open pit road without having to run any extra caution laps to get to the end of the stage first. And I mentioned in the qualifying stream earlier about that rule change, but I'll kind of talk about it again here in case you missed that stream earlier this afternoon. I'll preface this tomorrow in the Cup stream as well when we do get more viewers across the weekend. Just to get my thoughts and opinions on it, I think it's a good move by NASCAR to step in the right direction. I do think that that is going to solve at least all the ovals and issues with stage flipping. I never liked the idea of a caution. Two things. One, since stage racing has been implemented, I've never been a big fan of a caution at the end of the stage because you run into situations where not only it elongates the stage end when you run next to a caution, but it also creates an opportunity for the drivers who had been running up at the front all stage or all race long that are trying to go for their stage points, and they don't get it because they have to pit to maintain track position when the restart at the end or the beginning of the following stage begins, because you might only have like a 1 or 2 lap shootout. In the case of this week, with it being a short track, you wouldn't see a lot of cars stay out at the front of the field, so with having a caution kind of prematurely ending the stage, it's going to keep drivers that are outside the top 10 from having a shot to win the stage when they had no business running there, and it's going to give the drivers who had ran up at the front and leading those laps the stage win or a second, third place stage finish and keeping those points. Hopefully they get rid of stage cautions, at least on the road courses again. I like the idea that they did that. I think with them making this rule change, they probably made that change a couple of years ago more for timing to not have as many caution laps ran because they're a lot longer on road courses than what they are on ovals. Of course, bigger racetracks, slower speeds around the tracks, obviously, than some of these ovals when it comes to caution lap pace. But I just think for the consistency of rewarding the guys who deserve the points alone is the big reason why I like the rule change. And I don't even know that that was the reason they were necessarily looking to make the rule change for. I think it was more for shortening the races up a bit, and shortening the caution laps up a bit, but it actually ends up working out in multiple ways other than just the one. Caution's out on the speedway for the first time today. As you see up at the upper left-hand corner of the screen, we had a spin in turns 3 and 4 for the 42 car. Nathan Bird in the 42 this weekend, having that spin. It was right in front of the 7 car at Justin Allgaier. Lap traffic towards the tail end of the field, a little bit of contact as Bird was looking to make a pass in turns 1 and 2 and made contact with the car to his outside before losing it. Kind of a lazy spin. Luckily, traffic was able to miss him. He'll be able to continue on in the race once he gets the fresh tires back in the car. Garrett Smithley will get the free pass in 33rd as the first car 1 lap down at the time of caution. And Ryan Sieg, who had about a 2.5 second lead, is going to be trimmed back down to 0. McDonald's left NASCAR after 2025. Yes, they did. Yeah, Bubba Wallace with Hardy's car a couple times this season. It's a bummer. I'm a big McDonald's guy. More for breakfast. Because I don't really eat fast food much. But huge on McDonald's for one reason. Even though it might not be the best coffee, they do have 99-cent coffees on the McDonald's app every day. You can use it once a day. So if I'm dragging my ass into work and just really lacking, I'll grab a nice coffee on my lunch break, give me a little re-energizer. But only 99 cents, and it's any size too. So I can get a large iced coffee from McDonald's, 99 cents a day. It's perfect. So again, caution out for the first time. Ryan Sieg has led every lap so far as we're about halfway through stage 1 already. Not a long race today. 250 laps on a short track is going to fly by. Lap times around this place very fast. Cup Series qualifying earlier for Ryan Blaney averaged over a 134 mile per hour pace on his fastest qualifying lap to get the pole. Kyle Larson also starting on the front row for that one. So it'll be the 12 and the 5. A couple of NASCAR Cup champions up at the front of the field. Matt Walter, thanks for tuning in. Lenny wins tomorrow. Will be second in points. Maybe. It depends how Tyler Reddick does. He's 34 points back. If Reddick has a top 5 day in all 3 stages, even if Blaney wins, Reddick will be second in points still. But it'll be very tight between the two. He could get the second. McDonald's didn't leave NASCAR. Are they still sponsoring cars? Maybe they're still in the sport, but I don't think they have primary sponsored cars anymore. They could be a contingency sponsor. We got Hardee's, we got Trackhouse with Wendy's. A lot of Arby's cars in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series every weekend. So still circuiting under caution for the first time today. Stage number 1, Nathan Bird with a spin in turns 3 and 4. Bringing out that first yellow. Ryan Sieg is out in front. We'll see how long he'll be able to hold on to this for. Top dozen for the next restart. We'll have Sieg in the lead. Justin Allgaier in second. Ross Chastain third. Carson Kvapil fourth. Sheldon Creed fifth. With Jesse Love in 6th, 7th for Sammy Smith, Raja Caruth back to 8th, Brandon Jones 9th, Sam Mayer still in 10th, William Sawalich in 11th, and Corey Day 12th for the restart. on the top portion of the field, going to stay out on the racetrack, not wanting to use an extra set of tires here about halfway through stage 1. Remember, these Truck and O'Reilly races, they have very limited sets compared to the Cup Series. Usually, they would only have enough for one extra set of tires if you don't want to more than likely use those up early in the race. Keep them more for later. Especially that last stage being much longer, 130 laps. Already going to have to pit for fuel in that stage once. And in case there's any extra cautions, you'll probably want the fresher tires for that side of it. Only saw about a half a second to about 0.6 of a second of fall off over the course of those first 30 laps. So to get halfway through stage 1 and only about a half a second of fall off, probably another reason for why a lot of these drivers are staying out on the racetrack. Maybe some at the tail end of the lead lap came in, for sure topped off on fuel, but tires not as big of a talking point here this weekend. Electro Makes, thanks for tuning in. Possible Ryan Sieg could win the first stage. He could. Allgaier got the second, and Sieg was still outpacing him. So, obviously now going to have to deal with a restart. Everybody clustered together. Sieg's got a great car this weekend. The fact that he qualified on the pole, that's one thing already. But going out here, and he is working well with that clean air. If he does end up losing the lead at any point today, though, it's going to be interesting how he's going to be in traffic. Allgaier on the outside of 3 wide as they come off turn 4 in the opening lap of the restart. Quapple on the inside, and Ross Chastain, the only Cup regular in the field today, in the number 9 in the middle. Now jumps down to the bottom, just beats Quapple into turn 1. Quapple had to check up, and he gets passed by Sheldon Creed on the outside, as well as Sammy Smith in the 8 working his way up there, and Jesse Love, defending series champion, up against the wall out of turn 2. In a tight battle near the back half of the top 10, and a little bit of damage on the right side of the 2 car. So Love with some problems, and he is still getting passed by cars in the back half of the field now with that damage. I think he definitely hurt the car a ton and could potentially have a tire going down. He is slow on the back straightaway. And Jesse Love might be coming for pit road this time. We'll see if he makes the big left-hand turn out of turn 4. He does not know. He's just going to spin. And we'll see if we catch a caution. We stay green right now. Trying to back it up to get to pit road. It almost looked like he tried to self-spin in the middle of the corner. And NASCAR's like, no, we're not going to throw a caution for that. So Jesse Love comes to pit road. He's going to lose even more time. And obviously, when you pit on a short track, you're easily going to lose a lap, maybe 2 now with that slide off turn 4. And now he misses the pit box. And he's looking to go back on the racetrack again. This is an interesting situation here for Jesse Love.
That inside lane. Also, Jesse just rolled through because I think basically they're saying just run around the best you can. Right now, there's nothing they can do for him. And this was the hat.
All right, so Jesse Love just went a lap down because of coming to pit road. He was going to go in the box. I don't think they wanted him to use an extra set of tires this early in the race, so he goes a lap down, circuits back onto the racetrack. That was very odd. I feel like if he was already on pit road, you might as well pit the car. The only thing I could think of is they wanted to keep him 1 lap down instead of going 2. But at that point, why pit in the first place? So he obviously didn't have a tire going down in the middle of the back straightaway. I think he was just slow because he was looking like he was going to come into the pits. That was just a very odd sequence of events. Now he's back in the pits again.
Let's hear exactly what Jesse Love had to say to Danny here. You can hear the frustration, Stockman. He's like, we don't have any way to fix that right now. So they came in to try to pit. They sent him back out. Parker, the thing to me that's weird is when they pop out of gear, they go to neutral. He kept said it was going to 3rd gear, which I wonder if is that what caused.
All right, so Jesse Love just came back to pit road a second time, went to go in the box, and the team didn't pit his car.
Right here, and obviously the hits just keep coming for the 2 car right now.
And he just came back down. and did not stop in the box again. So not sure if that was him trying to serve the penalty there for the speeding. I think that's what that was, and maybe just a miscommunication there about what he needed to do. Either way, you see the crew there left side of the screen.
All right, so speeding on pit road. Now he's coming down a third time.
What options are available?
He's coming down to pit road a third time. And now Jesse Love's just pulling into the garage area. So he came into the pits twice. The team did not pit his car 2 times. Third time in, he goes into the garage. Obviously, you heard some radio frustrations there between both the driver and crew chief Danny Stockman. And that's an interesting development on the number 2 of Jesse Love. Remember, of course, he is going to the Cup Series next year, but not with Richard Childress Racing. He'll actually be driving the 21 at the Wood Brothers full-time, so he will be leaving Chevrolet and RCR as a whole. I don't know if there's maybe some frustrations there, and they're, I don't want to over-speculate, but I mean, that was just a very odd sequence of events. Driver wanting to pit to get this issue fixed. Crew chief yelling about not being able to do anything to fix it right now, ride it out, and then Jesse Love comes into the garage instead. So now they're going to be able to make the fix. I mean, they already, came into the pit box, and then they looked like they were going to change tires and then decided not to. After he had contact with the wall on the restart. And now some, frustrations for sure. They're on a commercial break on CW right now. If we get any developments on that story from any of the pit road reporters at CW, I'll make sure you guys get to listen to that. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, Ryan Sieg has still led every lap of the race, though his advantage over Allgaier only about 0.8 of a second now, and Allgaier a little bit quicker than Sieg that last time by. Almost a full 1/10 of a second faster. Great restart for Sheldon Creed. He's up to a race-high third-place position. Chastain has now dropped back to 4th as we're going to have about 12 laps to go in the stage. And again, if we catch a caution in the final 10 laps of Stage 1 or Stage 2, that will be a premature end to the stage. So we can open pit road back up for the field and get back to racing again shortly. First weekend of that rule change. I do think they're going to have to make another rule change in the offseason because 10 laps on a road course, they can easily get another restart in there. But because there are only ovals the rest of the way this season, we'll see if any more changes will be made in the offseason. They're jacking the car up on the left side for Jesse Love in the garage area. Sounds like some sort of a transmission or gearing problem, but Jesse Love wasn't willing to just kind of ride around with it. So they're going to come into the pits, and this is going to cost them a lot of points. So we look at those regular season standings a little bit more in depth. Jesse Love came in 3rd. Remember, there are only 2 races left in the regular season. He could fall down to 5th after this race. Sheldon Creed's in the top 5 right now. Corey Day, not a good start. He's a little bit outside the top 10, but obviously still on track. Could outscore Jesse Love. Both Sheldon Creed and Corey Day were within 28 points of Love for 3rd. And Love was only 4 points behind Quapple for 2nd. So he had a realistic shot to get that number 2 seed entering the chase. And now he's going to be behind Quapple even more going into Daytona. Could fall back as far as 5th. I mean, depending on how many points Brandon Jones and Austin Hill score today, they could be very close to Jesse Love at the end of this race as well, 6th and 7th in the standings. So Jesse Love, not a good time. I mean, never a good time, obviously, to have any kind of mechanical failures, but having that issue this time of the season where he's not going to have enough races to try to get that time back in the point standings, it could cost him some seeding. It is 5 points per position from 2nd on back, and 5 points is basically 5 positions. So if he loses 2 to 3 spots in points these last couple weeks of the regular season, I mean, that's 15 to 20 points he's losing at the start of the chase compared to where he was entering the day. Here's Jesse Love. I'll rewind it so you can hear her interview.
It's here.
And Dylan and his team is feverishly working to make that transmission change. So, Jesse, any warning before the transmission issue there? Really, I just for the race started here and then down. I kind of had to grind it back in. You know, hurt it. So every lap after that, just coming out of fourth gear and miss the whole race. Yeah, I don't really know. And Jesse Love, his team again, going to make a complete transition change. They have it up on jack stands now, going to take the shifter out. We've got a crew member in the right side window as well. So a lot of work going on for a driver that's bleeding some points here in the early going.
Yeah, this is going to mark their first.
All right, transmission changed completely for the two of Jesse Love, talking about the car popping out of fourth gear consistently. It wasn't like it just happened once there in the restart. Sieg catching lap traffic in the back of the field, while the second place driver of Justin Allgaier catching Ryan Sieg as well. As we are down to 4.5 laps to go in stage one. Good drive off by Ryan Sieg, but he is struggling on corner entry. The 7 car is able to just roll so much deeper in the braking zone down to the bottom of the track, but as he runs that lower line, he can't pick the throttle up quite as quick as Seeger has been backing up the corners a little bit more to try to get some of that top-end straightaway speed. Running off of the bottom lane as well as that 39. Maybe about 2 lanes off the inside, using kind of the upper part of that grip strip. Allgaier does not go to the bottom, and he's going to try to slip up to the right rear corner panel of Sieg and runs out of room out of turn 4. And we're down to 3 laps to go in stage number 1. We'll see if Justin Allgaier can make a pass. He's looking better at this point in the stage. Allgaier looking to the inside, almost gets underneath the Ryan Sieg off turn 2. Now Allgaier backs up turns 3 and 4. You can tell that Sieg drove it in a little bit deeper. Kind of diamonding the corner, pinned down to the bottom as Allgaier through the center of 3 and 4. And again, can't quite get to the inside. Now we got 2 lap cars in the way of the leaders. Allgaier out of the groove. He went too wide. All 4 tires up in the gray above the grip strip on the bottom of the racetrack, and he is now several car lengths out of the lead as we're coming up on the final lap of stage 1. Sieg catching lap traffic, though. Held up through turns 3 and 4, and it might give Allgaier one more crack at it after all. Sieg to the bottom of the track. Garrett Smithley in the 0 up near the outside line. He is unfortunately in front of Allgaier. Will slide out of turn 2 by the 7 as he now gets to the bottom of the lapper. He's still about 3 to 4 car lengths back. And how about that? Ryan Sieg from the pole leads every lap of stage 1 here today at Iowa. With a hard-charging Justin Allgaier in his rearview mirror, did not crack. Allgaier was actually the one to make a mistake late. And Ryan Sieg, stage 1 winner. He's not out of the chase yet, ladies and gentlemen. He's quite a few points back. But he is not out of it yet. With Daytona as the regular season finale, you never know if any one of those drivers on the bubble, like a Brett Cruz or Taylor Gray, get into the big one early on. And Sieg is there to maybe score some points in that race. And obviously winning the first stage here today, that's going to be huge for this 39 team. Keep him in it. If he wins today, that's huge too. I mean, just the amount of points you get for a race win. That's 55 points to win the race. It's 15 more than the original format. It's a 20-point difference between finishing first and second. And if he can score stage points along the way like he just did, you never know. To add on to it, Taylor Gray, who came in 12th in points entering the day, he doesn't get a single stage point. He was 12th at the end of stage 1. So Sieg outscores him 10-0 in the first stage. Kind of a long shot, 74 points behind Gray entering the day. But, I mean, if he can somehow, some way get like 40 to 50 points on Taylor Gray today, he has a shot at Daytona. If he can get to within 20 to 30 points, Daytona is one of the easier tracks on the schedule to gain that many points on another driver. So start of stage 2, Sieg's going to be 64 back instead of 74. So he just made 10 up right there. Great run. 15th in the standings overall for the 39 team through the first 22 races of the season. So with Sieg winning stage 1, Justin Allgaier was 2nd, Sheldon Creed 3rd, Ross Chastain 4th, Sammy Smith in 5th. 6th for Sam Mayer, Carson Kvapil 7th, Brandon Jones 8th, Corey Day 9th, and William Sawalich gets final stage point in 10th. Yep, Sieg wins stage 1. Now we wait. First pit stops of the day will be coming up here shortly. Now we have to see if the picker is going to hold on. Not going to have any lap cars between the top 2, though. If we had a longer green flag run to the end of that stage when he had a couple seconds over Allgaier, he might have had a couple lap cars between them at that point, but no lappers between the top 2 entering pit road for the first stop of the day at the stage end.
To buy Golden Corral. Golden Corral honors our nation's heroes. Progressive Insurance. In the savings lane today, visit progressive.com. And by Toyota. Let's go places. Back in Iowa, stage 1 in the books. The stage break is brought to you by Arby's. Ryan Seed getting it done. First time in a couple of years. He sees the green and white checkered first. Justin Allgaier, Sheldon Creed, Ross Chastain, and Sammy Smith. Top 5. Sam Mayer did a nice job there, up 15 spots from the start to pit from the 6th spot. And William Sawalich there getting a valuable stage point or 2, finishing 10th.
He did an awesome job holding off Allgaier at the end of that. Going to be up to his pit crew now to hopefully just maintain where they're at. A lot of pressure on these guys when you come in for winning a stage.
And this pit road is tricky. It's got that curve at the pit exit that can prove challenging for the drivers for that section of pit road. Got to be perfect here. And the field will head down Progressive Pit Road, and we start our coverage with Kim Kuhn.
And Dylan, to Jamie's point, as we look at stage 1 winner, Ryan Sieg right there, crew chief Matt Noyes told me the one place they felt they could be stronger was their pit crew. They have about a 12th place pit crew, so they were hoping just to maintain here today. Ryan, though, free in, lost a little bit of turn, but decent exit. Nothing major, so no big adjustments. Right front air out of that tire to help this turn and get it lasting a little bit longer, Chris.
Middle of your screen, finishing second in the stage, Justin Allgaier, crew already to work. He said the biggest deal was I was free on the extremities and then tight in the middle. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment. Track bar is going to go down a half round. And then Sheldon Creed in that number 1 pit stall didn't drive through it, did a great job. He's down and away with 4 Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel. Said it was just tight on exit.
There's the race off of Progressive Pit Road. Sheldon Creed's crew doing a nice job to gain him a bunch of spots. Ryan Sieg's crew, fortunately, going the opposite way. That's the race off Pit Road. We'll go back to reading it.
Well, I was just talking about the problems for the 39 team and just not having quite the personnel on pit road that the Junior Motorsports, the Haas, and the JGR teams of this series, and if that was going to potentially cost them, kind of like we saw out of Jeremy Clements and his crew at Indianapolis a couple weeks ago after he won stage 1, and the same thing happens here. And now Sieg does have a fast car, much like Clements, and it is easier to pass at Iowa than Indianapolis, but again, work is going to be cut out for Ryan Sieg going forward here into stage 2. And now he's in traffic for really the first time after leading every lap of stage 1 and having that clean air. All right. So on to stage 2 here at Iowa. Sheldon Creed wins the race off pit road, and he will be the front runner. With Justin Allgaier in second, Sammy Smith third, Carson Kvapil fourth, Brandon Jones fifth, and Sam Mayer in sixth. Ryan Sieg seventh in the race off of pit road, losing 6 positions. See, not good for those point standings, too. I just talked about him getting 10 of them over Taylor Gray. Gray gains 2 spots in the pits. He's up to 10th. Now within just 3 positions of Sieg. Lap 68 of 250 here today at Iowa. All right. Waiting for them to get back to action now. One caution in the opening stage for a Nathan Bird spin in turns 3 and 4. The only incident that has been recorded, and the only car off the racetrack is defending champion Jesse Love, who had to make a transmission change after his car had popped out of 4th gear multiple times after the restart from that Nathan Bird caution. Free pass goes to Tyler Tomasi to get back on the lead lap as we get set for stage number 2. So Allgaier's still not in the lead, but he doesn't have to pass the 39. Now he has to pass the 00, and we'll see if he can get by him. Hasn't had to make a pass on him yet today. He did start just ahead of Creed at the beginning of the race. Made a pass on both Chastain and Kvapil to go from 4th to 2nd on the first run before running 2nd behind Sieg all of the second green flag run there to lap 60.
Your luck and make your power play by heading to your local lottery retailer, to get in the game for tonight's estimated Powerball jackpot of $856 million. That had me all flustered.
856 million.
Get a ticket, it will be. Yeah. See you guys later. Well, so we talked about the challenges of pit road here at Iowa, and we had several issues with several drivers at the front of the field, starting with Brent Cruz, who missed his pit stall. This is right in the section of pit road that we talked about. Pit out where that curve is. It's hard to just know where you're going, Parker.
Yeah, and this isn't like in your road car where you see a turn, you think, oh, you just look to the left forever. A race car, you have a headrest around you, the Hans device, you can't really move. The A-post is large. They're not designed for you to see around a tight curve like this. So being a rookie, young driver, first time maybe experiencing a curve, pit stop like this, just completely misses his stall, isn't able to see it or get in correctly, end up blocking the 7 of Justin Allgaier a little bit. Just a great learning experience for Brent Cruz here as he continues that learning here in the O'Reilly Series. And interesting enough, the 7, because he didn't win the race off pit road, look at that. He ended up lining outside the second row. We talked about how important that outside is. We've seen him get a better launch. Also through 1 and 2, the inside is a struggle. But Sammy Smith gave a great opportunity for him, who was in third, to be on the front row.
Ryan Sieg's team.
All right, so Sheldon Creed going to be the leader of the restart. Allgaier from second place outside of row 2. That bumps Sammy Smith on the inside of row 1 for the restart. Back to racing here in stage number 2. Dive bomb to the inside, 3 wide. I believe the 41 is Sam Mayer making that move underneath Brandon Jones and Justin Allgaier initially. Allgaier not able to hold on to second, though. Sammy Smith slides in front of him in the positioning order. Mayer gets by Jones and now to the inside for third on Allgaier. Mayer's up quite a few spots in the race. Remember, he gained 13 positions from 23rd to 10th in that first green flag run. Chipped away a couple more at the end of this first stage in the next green flag run and got a couple more spots on pit road with a fast stop for the 41 crew. So inside the top 5 for the first time. We'll see if Sam Mayer's got any speed. He has won at Iowa before. It's a good track for him. Midwest native out of Wisconsin. One of the more home tracks at Iowa Speedway for Mayer. It is just a madhouse in the middle of the pack right now. We got multiple rows of 3 wide. three rows of 3 wide into turns 3 and 4 on this current lap. I mean, you want to talk about a hornet's nest. That's exactly what that is. You got drivers like Dean Thompson, Brent Cruz, Brennan Poole, Patrick Starpoli, Nick Sanchez all in that group. Contact between Cruz 4 wide up out of turn 2 after that said contact with Dean Thompson. After losing all those positions, missing his pit box, Cruz trying to get some time back. Still stuck 3 wide middle. More contact on track out of turn 4 as Nick Sanchez gets clipped in the left rear, holds on to his race car. And Anthony Alfredo in the 96 underneath. My goodness. What a cluster. Iowa Speedway, one of the wider tracks from bottom to top of the short track circuits. Maybe not as wide as it used to be because of the amount of repaving that they did on both ends of the track. It doesn't go all the way up to the wall. So there's a big fight for those bottom couple rows, and now we got another spinner. This time it turns 1 and 2, and it's the 28 of Kyle Sieg who goes around and likely had some contact that resulted in him going around there, and cautions out for the 2nd time for incident and the 3rd time total in today's race. Seeing what kind of a madhouse it was on that restart in the middle of the pack, there was no surprise that something like that happened only moments later. Wait to catch a replay of who might have made contact with Sieg. The other Sieg, Ryan Sieg, did move up 2 more positions after losing 6 spots on pit road after winning stage 1. Restarted 7th, now back to 5th. Might have been Nick Sanchez who got into the back of the 28. I need to see another replay of that again. Caught the back half of it. No, he just lost on his own. Never mind. So we saw Brad Keselowski spin in turns 1 and 2 in qualifying earlier on his own, but he actually looked like he was kind of spinning out, Keselowski that is, in qualifying a little bit before he got into the corner. Those bumps on the older surface before he got to the transition of the new surface, he was already loose and practically spinning out, where this time, in this circumstance, Sieg was already in the grip strip, if you will, on that fresher asphalt in turns 1 and 2 by the time he lost it. Maybe a little bit too much mid-corner speed, and around he went. Car's a bit too free, I believe. So again, 3rd caution of the day. Under the yellow, Nick Sanchez comes to pit road. Had contact a couple times on that restart. I wonder if they were maybe pulling a fender out from the tire. Trying to keep from having a rub. Quick yellow coming out. He had a chance for his team to do that. Sanchez part-time in the series this year, but he will be finishing out the season in that 87 car. Has had a couple of good runs already recent weeks. He won last year in his rookie season with the 48 team in the Summer Atlanta race. Multi-time Truck Series winner as well as Sanchez. And trying to put together some good runs at the end of 2026 so he can maybe compete full-time in this series again in 2027. See if somebody will take a chance on him. Up at the front of the field there, Sheldon Creed having the track position for the first time. Ran his fastest lap of the day at lap 73 just 6 laps ago, 24.744. Not quite as fast as Ryan Sieg's best lap of the race, which is a 24.633 on lap 5. That is still the fastest lap of the race. And Allgaier had a lap as well in the 24.6s back in stage 1 on lap 7. Lead change today on pit road. Sieg lost all those spots. Sheldon Creed, great jump by his crew. They went in 3rd, came out 1st. Obviously the slow stop for the 39, but outright beat the 7. You know, as just executing on all cylinders every race weekend, it seems. Allgaier in that 7 crew putting up some video game numbers this year. "17 top 10 finishes in 22 races with 14 top 5, 6 wins, 277 stage points for Allgaier. The next closest is Jesse Love with 179. Allgaier's got 98 more stage points than the next closest driver. And he's still got a 265-point lead in the standings. Unfortunately, even though he's locked up the #1 seed for the chase already, he's only going to be 25 points ahead of second when we begin the final 10-race stretch. So team's going to have to reset and just keep business as usual. I mean, obviously they do what they've been doing all season. They're easily the top running contenders for the championship, but going to have to put it together again in those final 10 races. He's got some good tracks lined up for him along the way. Green flag is back in the air. Another good launch on the restart for Sheldon Creed to hold on to the lead, but Allgaier better this time around as he sweeps outside of 3 wide and comes out of turn 2 with second place. More 3 wide action towards the back half of the top 10 into turns 3 and 4. Maybe a little bit of contact in there. We've seen that a couple times already today. Fanning out, very low dive to the inside for the 88. Raja Karut, who's lost a lot of ground from the start of the race today, as he looks to get some of that back this time with the field clustered together again. Karut's struggling. He qualified 4th, so him being back mid-pack right now, not where he wants to be as he came in 20 points below the cut line. The only good news is Taylor Gray didn't get any stage points and pulled away from him in stage 1, so he's still 20 points back. It's time to make that up. Ryan Sieg up another spot as he gets by Sam Mayer through turns 1 and 2 for 4th. Mayer going to try to cross him over back to the inside of the racetrack, but Sieg gets the drive off, and he wants to try to get up there before Allgaier can get to the lead on Creed. And Allgaier knows that 39 car is fast, so he doesn't want to waste too much time trying to make a pass on this 00. Clean air advantage for Creed, but Allgaier gets a really good drive off out of turn 2. Pulls to the back bumper of Sheldon. Now going to try to slip to his outside through 3 and 4. Better drive off for Allgaier this time. We'll see if the straightaway speed will mount a charge into turn 1. No, he couldn't really get back to the gas all that well despite running that wider line. Sieg now on the attack for 3rd on the other junior Chevrolet in the top 5, Sammy Smith in the 8. And there's still a lot of trading paint and 3 wide lows being had outside the top 10 again. Oh, and a big moment for the 20 of Brandon Jones out of the throttle for a long period of time. Ross Chastain slipping to the outside. I believe Sawalich in the 18 down on the bottom trying to slip by as well. And the same thing looked like it happened to Chastain in the middle of turns 1 and 2. Jones gets backed up again. Carruth gets by on the inside. Now Chastain's 3 wide middle between Brent Cruz and William Sawalich. And Cruz is up quite a few spots between these last 2 restarts as we begin the second stage. He's back up to 10th after losing all that time on pit road. 8 positions gained from this restart, 18th to 10th for Cruz, and just a handful of laps. And gets a couple more that time as he completes the pass on both the cars that were underneath of him. Chastain and Carruth now battle side by side for position, and Chastain, who was as high as 2nd early in the race, really fading as this one progresses. Allgaier again trying to get to the inside of Sheldon Creed. Hangs on the left rear fender. He is there. Quick side draft down the back straight and into turn 3. Creed giving the 7 car a little bit of room. Allgaier tight on corner exit. Almost slips into the left rear corner panel of Creed, and Sheldon holds on again. Meanwhile, a little bit behind them, Sammy Smith and Ryan Sieg catching up with the battle for the lead going on. It's Sieg back to the inside for 3rd again on Smith. Allgaier just much better on the exit of turn 4 than Sheldon Creed. He's able to keep that lower exit. As Creed kind of walks up to the wall just a little bit more, and now Allgaier overdrives the entry into turn 1, slides big time. Did a fantastic job keeping it off of Creed. These guys are really driving the wheels off the race cars up at the front of the field. What a battle. And again, Allgaier off turn 4, just much better. He's able to get the nose pointed straighter off turn 4 than what Sheldon Creed is. Creed kind of walks out to the wall. Allgaier's not able to complete the pass, but has several times gotten underneath of him in that area of the racetrack, and that seems to be where he's much better. Allgaier doesn't have to feed his car all the way up to the wall. He can kind of keep it lower. Kind of that Austin Dillon Richmond line, if you will, where he doesn't need to use all the racetrack, and it's just less surface area. If you can keep the car a couple lanes off of the wall on the exit of turn 4, it's a very, very wide exit to this track, much like Richmond, which we'll see in the Cup Series and Truck Series next weekend. Austin Hill up quite a few spots recently as well to 6th place. He was at lap 71 back in 12th. That was the start of the stage, so he's picked up about 3 spots each of these 2 restarts. Sussig was underneath Sammy Smith a couple laps ago, still has not been able to make that pass. Rajah Caruth and Ross Chastain have been battling for a long time for position towards the back half of the top 10. Caruth will make that pass for 10th place finally. And the battle between Creed and Allgaier continues onward. Allgaier had that big slide when he was underneath the Creed through turns 1 and 2 a couple laps ago. Had to rally back, took him a few laps to catch Creed again. Little push down the front stretch, letting the 00 know he is faster. He really wants a way around, but Creed is not going to give it to him. Allgaier trying to get back to the outside of Sheldon Creed. He's doing what he can to do his best to get alongside of Creed, inside or out, and he's got alongside of him a couple times, but Sheldon Creed is doing a fantastic job, not making mistakes, holding on to it. Allgaier got underneath him in turn 4, slides way up the racetrack into turns 1 and 2, and gives Creed back the lead with the crossover, and now in danger of losing second as well to Sammy Smith, who has pulled several car lengths away from Ryan Sieg. And Sieg back within a second of the lead again as well. Allgaier had another big run off turn 4 and sailed it off into 1 and 2. So much so that he couldn't keep the car down in that blacker asphalt on the bottom. Slipped up into the gray like he did at the end of stage 1 battling the 39. And lost a lot of time. And now it's going to probably take a couple laps to get those tires cleaned back off and make another charge. Corey Day, man, on the move up to 6th place, by the way. Want to keep an eye on him. His best lap was at lap 90 just 10 laps ago. It's about 3.2 seconds off the lead right now, but he's getting better. He was back at 12th in that first stage at one point in time. So he is getting better with more repetition. And this, I think, is a track that really suits Corey Day's driving style quite well. All right, so Allgaier's back for more. He's still got 21 laps to go in this stage to try to get the pass on Sheldon Creed and finally take the lead once and for all. What has been an amazing battle for this position so far. Having that number 1 seat all locked up, he's strictly racing for wins out of merit at this point, just trying to add on to those accolades in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series all-time wins list. He's 6th all-time in wins in the series and trying to position himself where he could make a charge at 4th and 5th place by the end of the season if he can go on another hot stretch like he has had on several occasions this year. He's had 6 wins this season in the series. The only other drivers with more than 1 win of the full-time regulars are Corey Day and Austin Hill with 2. And Sheldon Creed gave up a lot in turns 1 and 2 that time. Finally budged and made a bit of a mistake, and Justin Allgaier capitalizes to take his first lead of the afternoon. So Justin Allgaier out in front for the first time now. Sheldon Creed 0.2 back in second. Sammy Smith 0.7 back in third. Ryan Sieg 1.4 off the lead in fourth. And Sam Mayer 1.9 seconds back, rounding out the top 5 in fifth. 16 laps to go in stage 2 this time by 3 cautions, 1 for incident in stage 2, and 2 for incident, I should say, 1 in each stage of the 2 so far. 2 lead changes. That was our second. Our first lead change under green just happened a couple laps ago. 19 laps of caution ran total, and again, about 14 laps to go in this second stage. 106 laps in out of 250. This race is flying by. A lot of great action, too. Cars on the edge of control. Slipping and sliding. Pushing. A lot of great moves. It's been a pretty good short track race. You got to like the fact that it's in the afternoon, the heat of the summer. Cause it for more slippery of a racetrack than what we've maybe seen in the past. Seen a lot of night races at Iowa in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, and even the first Cup race here was in the nighttime as well. Back in 2024. It creates a more slippery racetrack in the day, and I mean, it's been a fantastic race so far. I'd argue this has been the best short track race of the O'Reilly season so far. And a good race to come off the hiatus of not having any a week ago across all the top 3 series having their off week to start the month. It's a good return race for the sport. Allgaier, after taking the lead from Creed, is pulling away just a bit. He was the fastest car on the racetrack that last lap. So Sieg has kind of picked away in the restarts, but once he gets kind of settled into his position, he's been able to make a pass on Sammy Smith a couple of times. He might have used his stuff up a little early in the run. Has not had a chance to get back to Smith, but he hasn't let Sam Mayer close up on him yet as well for 4th. Allgaier trying to go for his 7th win of the season. Creed up out of the group. They're 1 and 2, just like Allgaier did a couple laps prior. Overdriving the entry, slipping up into the gray, and made for an easier pass. You put that much pressure on the guy ahead of you, and maybe they drive out of the rearview mirror too much. Could cause for an over-aggressive mistake. Playing that defensive game, if you will, and first mistake that Creed has made since leading, and it costed him. News is for Creed, he's still in second, and about a full second ahead of third. 36 laps left on the day for Sheldon Creed, all in stage 2. After Ryan Sieg led the first 65 laps, the last 11 have been led by Allgaier. They're the only 3 drivers to lead in today's race. All still inside the top 4. We're down to 10 laps to go in stage 2. Caution comes out. Stage will end here, so Allgaier's in a pretty good spot. As long as lap traffic doesn't hold him up a ton, he should be able to hold on. We're definitely going to see more cars a lap down if this longer green flag run continues to stay green to lap 120. It would be the longest green flag run of the day. Jesse Love with that transmission change back at stage 1. He, by the way, is still in the garage area, now 61 laps down in 37th. And if you were to make up any positions, 1 position for each point in the running order, he is 57 laps behind Tyler Tomasi in 36th. So unless somebody drops out of the race, it is going to be impossible for Love to pick up any more spots. And he would need them to fall out of the race in the first half of the final stage to have a shot of even getting any more of those positions. If it happens at the very end, it won't matter. It's not going to have enough laps to make up any more spots. He did score a couple stage points back in stage 1, but that was it. Ryan Cruz and Austin Hill battling for position late in stage 2. That battle is for 7th. This is the best Cruz's look today in this second stage. As he looks to the inside in turns 3 and 4, trying to get by the 21. Not quite going to complete the pass off turn 4. Hill always a tough pass. Jesse Love actually is back on the racetrack. He's in the rearview mirror of both the 21 and 19. I think he's got some fresher tires, too, as he makes up ground on these lead lap cars ahead of him. So Jesse Love about 60 laps down, but he is back on track. Trying to make up anything he possibly can. Talked about him third in points coming into the day. He was only 28 up on 5th. Corey Day having a good run in 6th. Austin Hill in 8th. 2 drivers trying to catch him. Sheldon Creed, another driver trying to catch him. He's 2nd in the race. We talked about Carson Kvapil much in this one. He also qualified in the top 5, much like Chastain. Both those drivers are outside the top 10 here at the moment, 11th and 12th on the grid. Almost a half a track off the race leader, their teammate who's out in front. Kind of all over the map for Junior Motorsports Day. They got 2 of their cars inside the top 3. Hendrick car of Corey Day affiliated with JRM in 6th, and then 10th, 11th, and 12th are the other 3. Usually when you see one up towards the front, the others are not that far behind, but kind of sporadically across the top dozen today. Final lap of stage 2 this time by for Allgaier. He's multiple seconds ahead of Creed now, really pulling away in the last 20 laps of the stage after taking the lead for the first time. Battle for 11th, not going to be for a stage point between Kvapil and Chastain as they were side by side almost the entirety of that final lap. So Justin Allgaier comes across the green-white checker to take stage 2 after finishing 2nd in the first stage. I talked about him having 98 more stage points than Jesse Love. Well, considering Love's out of the race, he's going to have over 100 stage points over the next closest driver in the series after today as he gets 19 more to add to his total this afternoon. Sheldon Creed 2nd in stage 2, Sammy Smith 3rd, Ryan Sieg 4th, Sam Mayer rounds out the top 5 in 5th, 40 Day in 6th, 7th for Brent Cruz, William Sawalich up to 8th, Austin Hill 9th, and Raja Karuth rounds out the top 10. 1 point per position inside those top 10 spots. On to stage 3 as we have pretty much the entire half portion of this race to go. 130 laps out of the 250 in this final stage. And they will have to pit one more time after these stops coming up at the stage end. So these will not be the final stops. Well, they can go a good chunk. And now we wait. Yes, now we wait again. While we wait for them to come back from commercial, we'll take a quick break of our own. You're listening live on KRC to our full flag-to-flag coverage of this afternoon's event. NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series action continues here on KRC, and our full flag-to-flag coverage of today's race will begin tomorrow's afternoon stream of the Iowa NASCAR Cup Series race at 3 p.m. Eastern, and their return to action after the off week last week. Second and final off week of the season for the Cup side. Four races left in the regular season. Four-headed battle for the regular season championship into these final four races between Denny Hamlin, Tyler Reddick, Ryan Blaney, and Ty Gibbs. Tight battle for that final handful of chase spots as well. Four drivers are locked in. Those four that I mentioned for the regular season title are the only four that are locked in on Cup Series points. Take a quick look at that. Hamlin, Reddick, Blaney, Gibbs are in. Carson Hocevar fifth in points. Another solid weekend at Indy with a top 10. Chase Elliott dropped in points after his incident early on. Larson with the DNF. They are now 6th and 8th. Briscoe up a spot to 7th. Chris Buescher in 9th, and Christopher Bell in 10th in points. Very consistent as well for him this season. Daniel Suarez still in 11th with Spire Motorsports. William Byron sitting 12th still. Joey Logano has picked it up the last couple of weeks of a first and third place finish. He is now 13th. Bubba Wallace 14th. 15th for SVG, and Austin Cindric that final spot over Ryan Preece, Eric Jones, Brad Keselowski, and Michael McDowell. Very tight battle from about 13th through 19th in points. Not much separation between them.
Strong. Race to yours by texting race to 297. To learn more in order in the RV's app. Let's go down to Kim with an update on Ryan Ellis presented by Demco.
Yeah, Dylan checked in with the team this weekend just to get an idea of where their season is now that the regular season is winding down. Remember, Young's Motorsports doing a two-car full-time effort this season for the first time in that organization's history. They told me they felt like they started the season off strong, but then hit a pretty rough patch. They're getting back on track. Crew Chief Eddie Traconis told me 2026 has been all about building a notebook. He noted that this is a long-term building process where results might take a year or even 2 years to show up. Their big goal, though, is to capitalize better on opportunity races, including, they noted, when the series heads to Daytona in a few weeks.
Thanks, Kim. Pit stops right now at the end of stage 2. Progressive pit road is open, and I'll go to Kim.
Yeah, Sammy Smith, top of your screen, tight there towards the end of that run, on edge of landing entry, he said, but overall long run, not back, so they won't take a big swing, just the air pressure adjustment. They'll stick to that small change this time, but Chris, next time, if they need a bigger change, they will take a swing at it.
Oh, Kim, Justin Allgaier doesn't need a ton, as the stage winner is already in his pit box. Said the last adjustment on the last round of stops was money on the long run. Don't change a thing, just need a little help of turn on the short run. Also in a Sherman Creed, won the race off pit road last time. I made a mistake in a one, but I'm a little edgy still with the rears as they exit pit road. Stop the one, the 0.
Race off Progressive pit road. 7 boys.
Yeah, by 0.3 of a second, Justin Allgaier's crew had a faster stop than Sheldon Creed wins the race off pit road.
Good pit stops as well. Harvest time just around the corner in the Midwest. Corn is standing tall here in Iowa and providing a great backdrop for racing here in Hawkeye State.
Yeah, so much so that tomorrow's race is the Iowa Corn 350. Big selling point in the state, even on NASCAR race weekend as well. Big set of weekends for Iowa, their state as a whole. Of course, the Knoxville Nationals going on within the same time frame that NASCAR takes its lone date to the state. Biggest race of the World of Outlaw Series schedule on a yearly basis. Taking place this weekend, in fact, as well. Probably the biggest weekend in the state. Now that Caitlin Clark's in the WNBA. 360 Nationals, by the way, are this week. August 12th through the 15th are the NOS Energy Drink Knoxville Nationals for the World of Outlaw. Winner taking home $200,000 for the main events on that Saturday night. For the 410s, and of course, prestige their 65th Knoxville Nationals this season. I'd love to go one of these years. I haven't gotten out there yet. I just went to the King's Royal for the first time a few years ago, out in Eldora, a couple Julys ago. Got to get out to that one yet. Fourth yellow of the day now. We've had 2 for incident and 2 for stages. On stage 3 here today, Sheldon Creed. Nearly getting that race win off of pit road. At number 1 pit box, a little bit better positioning for Creed versus Allgaier. Wasn't able to aid him, though, as the pit crew, again, about 0.3 of a second faster for the 7 team. Enough to win them the race off pit road instead.
NASCAR is brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts, your professional parts people. Progressive, save when you bundle motorcycle, RV, and boat insurance. Visit progressive.com. And by Ace, the helpful place. We got that great report from Kim earlier on Ryan Ellis and Demco. And Farm Rescue, they're the only nonprofit organization of its kind that provides farm and ranch families with the operational support they need in times of crisis. Scan the QR code on the screen to learn how you can join Demco and Farm Rescue in providing critical assistance to keep family farms moving. Coming back to green here at Iowa for the final stage, we'll have 121 laps to go. With the field works through the bullet restart zone, Justin Allgaier, the race leader, chooses the outside lane with Sammy Smith behind him. Back to green at Iowa, to a good jump.
He did, and if you look at his teammate, Sammy Smith, we haven't talked a lot about Sammy, but he's running the top 3 all day long. He's had a great car. He's been really aggressive on a lot of these restarts. Get a long run right here. Don't count him out.
Race starts it out. Towards the front, 1 and 2, nose to tail, resuming their battle again. Battle for third, Sam Mayer inside of Sammy Smith.
I think we got to give some props to Seek's pit crew, too. They came in, did a nice job, only lost a position or 2 that last stop after the issue they had on the first pit stop. The 39s had a great car all day long, going to get a great finish here. He's trying to work there at Corey Days. Sam Mayer to check up. They got to the back of him pretty quickly. If Corey Days looking maybe the outside of Sam Mayer, trying to get there. Dude, Corey Days getting a massive run into these corners. Air slides up in front of him right here. That had to be very tight as he goes through the trajectory. They were both off to the center of the corner.
And everybody goes to the bottom, so some sweet air in the lane for the 17 as he tries to fend off the 39 and go back to work on the 41 of Mayer.
On the left side of your screen, you see Sheldon Creed trying to work over Allgaier. I felt like Sheldon was maybe better on the shorter run there in stage 2. Is on the long run that Justin Allgaier really came to light. So Sheldon's got to try and make something happen or take care of that race car better than he did in stage 2. It looked like Alfredo had a massive moment on the right-hand side. Dean Thompson got into the back of him.
Carson Quaffle, Ross Chastain battling again. They have been attached at the hip all day today. This is a race for 10th.
It's just flipped right now. The ones that are in the same position.
Cruz just in front of him. Raja Caruth out the back windshield. Crew's going to work on Sawalich. This is the race for 8th. Sound here on board. Crew with the momentum in that outside lane. Does Sawalich leave him enough room? He does. Here's to take the spot at the line. Track.
Yeah, he was working the top, probably just stepped over the line just a little bit. We saw it happen to Allgaier earlier in the race. Just got to regroup here, get your tires cleaned off. That's not surprising that Corey Day would maybe push the through as high as possible. We saw him win a race at Dover doing that, going higher than anyone I think thought was possible. Here just doesn't pay off the way you'd hope. Once you get out of that newer asphalt, there's just not the same level of grip. Yeah, and the 17 looks really loose on entry. Sawalich, be right on board with William Sawalich. He's pitching off the entry. You see, he's not real aggressive on the entry. He's also pitching it off just a little bit. Tells me he can't really pull on the steering wheel.
Cruz gets the spot, goes to 7th, Day back to 8th, Sawalich in 9th.
See, the 17 turns in just a little bit earlier, and then when they get to the middle of the corner, he washes up the racetrack. You'd like to take as late an entry as possible just so you can get the best angle on exit, make the straightaway a little bit longer, and carry all that momentum.
Great look here at all the different approaches that you can use to make a lap here at Iowa. Whatever you got to do some self-medicating with your race car, find some clean air, it's all up for grabs here. Day, by the way, when we're done here, down the road to Knoxville, we compete in the 360 Nationals with the Wing Sprint cars.
So much fun to watch. You see Corey Day in the 17, right behind him, Sawalich turns in just a little bit lower. The next guy behind him, Chastain, runs higher. The next guy behind him, the one of Guapo, runs lower. Everybody's just trying to find clean air where they can get their car to make the most grip.
Sawalich has dialed up the inside lane here on Day, the race for 8th. Since the restart, Powerball Power Movers, couple guys on the move, including Ross Chastain in the 9. We see him here up 5 spots. They've had issues, I think, on pit road, both stops, slow stops, if nothing else, that have buried them in traffic. We saw Ross in the front early in the day, but has had to dig out of a hole a couple times here this afternoon.
That's a nice visual for you.
They lost Day 2 spots here. Chastain goes by, and Quaffle may get by him as well.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of a slide job by the 18. Drove in there deep and then had to check up. Chastain had backed up his entry just a little bit, was able to get that run on the outside.
Quaffle squeezed right in there, didn't he?
I think Corey's patience has run out slightly here. So go on board with William Sawalich. This is how he gets the inside of Corey. Next to Jamie, just sort of tried the slide job into one. Slides up, and I think Corey thought, well,
he was
pretty close for my liking.
He was back in the gas already, but if you're Sawalich, right, you got to go.
It's racing.
Yeah.
No, that's totally what you got to do for you. No harm, no foul. It's just you send a little tap and saying, hey, I didn't like that.
Quaffle has seen enough of this, and he went ahead and drove around the 17 and the 18 and has moved into 9th. We look at the bubble again, changing by the second. Sawalich in now by 1. That's another reason he needs to get as many spots as he can here, just to try to finish out what's been a solid day, quiet day, but has scored a few stage points and doing what he needs to do.
And really, they've been the winners. Sawalich and Gray compared to Carruth, who qualified 4th, lost that at turn 2 on the first lap, and has never recovered to really be in a position towards the front on a day. He really needed to capitalize and make up points to those Joe Gibbs Racing teammates.
Oh, wow. Corey thought he was going to get to the back bumper there of the 18. Not sure if he just overdrove that or was trying to get back to him, but close quarters racing here as we look at the 17 and the 88 race. Let's get an update on the 18 with Kim.
Yeah, William Sawalich has done a pretty good job today of just having a solid run, like Dylan mentioned. Earned a couple of stage points, although I called to crew chief Jeff Mendering this morning and said, you know, a couple of stage points is not going to guarantee us a spot in the chase. We've got to run in front of all of the other guys around the bubble. They're doing that pretty much to the only driver that's ahead of Sawalich right now. But things are not looking good balance-wise for William. Take a listen to the in-car audio to see it starting. So William Sawalich just trying to hold on here until they make that final pit stop of the day.
I'm gonna have to run over to Stumpy because I couldn't quite hear what he said right there. He can ask what he said right there, but I think just a little bit of frustration.
Well, he said he was loose.
The HendrickCars.com car got to have the HendrickCars.com car, by the way, behind that. It happens a lot in this series.
Glad we cleared that up. Allgaier leads in Iowa.
Just over 100 laps to go at Iowa Speedway. Justin Allgaier out in front of the field. Sheldon Creed in second. Sammy Smith third. Sam Mayer fourth. And Ryan Sieg rounding out the top 5 in fifth. Austin Hill in sixth. Brent Cruz seventh. Ross Chastain eighth. Carson Kvapil ninth. And William Sawalich in 10th. 11th is Raja Caruth with 12th place Corey Day. Brandon Jones 13th. Taylor Gray 14th. And Dean Thompson in 15th. 16th is Anthony Alfredo. Parker Retzlaff 17th. Nick Sanchez 18th. Harrison Burton 19th. And 20th is Jeff Burton. Patrick Starpoli in 20th now. Carson Brown in 21st. And 22nd, Brendan Poole. Jeremy Clements in 22nd. Poole 22nd. Clements 23rd. Got some changes on the leaderboard here. Kyle Segan 24th. Joey Gase 25th. Mason Maggio 26th. Anthony Alfredo 27th. LeVar Scott 28th, and he'll get the free passes. We're under caution for the 5th time today. Blaine Perkins in 29th. Derek Lemke 30th. Ryan Ellis 31st. Garrett Smithley 32nd. 33rd, Nathan Bird. Josh Balicki 34th. Tyler Tomasi 35th. Carson Ware 36th. And Jesse Love 37th on track. 60 laps down after a transmission change out from the garage area back on track in stage 2. So right around 100 laps to go as we're under caution again for the 5th time. Our first incident of stage 3, and I believe this will open the fuel window to make it to the end. Anthony Alfredo towards the tail end of the lead lap goes for the spin, and that looked to be off of turn 4. And he has made his way onto pit road. Front stretch, it looks like, actually, as he's just crossing the start-finish line through the tri-oval at a slow rolling pace. So over 3 cautions, all single car spins on both ends of the racetrack, 2 of them in turn 4 and 1 of them on entry into turn 1. Right around 100 to go. Again, the fuel window will be open to the end of the race, so I would imagine everybody's going to pit here. Maybe see some 2-tire calls. Be a little bit bold, but I don't see that as much in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series compared to Cup, but could be a factor in this race off of pit road. I think the Iowa State Fair is happening right now also. Well, there you go. You got the State Fair, you got NASCAR, and you got the Knoxville National, all in the span of about a week plus. All in the span of about 8 days. Brandon Jones also on pit road.
Yeah, one of the gambles, Dylan, here with about 99 laps to go, and they brought Brandon Jones in running just outside of the top 10. He said, this is the tightest we've been all day. I need an adjustment here and find a way to get through the center. Sam McCauley said they're going to take a pretty big swing at it as they send it back on its way. Now, the Toyotas are known to get a little bit more fuel mileage, so be curious here how this gamble pays off and kind of try to stretch run this to the end, but majority of the leaders feel like this caution came out just about a handful of laps too early.
Okay.
Yeah, with 99 laps to go, it is right on the edge. You got to be a big gambler if you try to go for it here. This is why we're under yellow. Anthony Alfredo, who was running 16th at the time. This is out of turn.
A couple of cars coming to pit road there, trying to stretch the fuel window to the end of the race. Brandon Jones being one of which coming in. Spent a little bit of time in the top 10 today, but not much. He was outside the top 10 at the time of the stop. Justin Allgaier, the race leader. Sheldon Creed second. Sammy Smith third. Sam Mayer fourth. Ryan Segan fifth. Brent Cruz rounding out the top half dozen in sixth. 153 laps complete out of 250 here today. Less than 90 minutes into the race. Tomorrow's race, 350 laps for the Cup Series at Iowa. A lot of cautions in last year's Cup race here. Not many the year before that, though, in 2024. So I'm not sure what kind of a race we're going to see tomorrow. NASCAR had an off week in the summer last year. Iowa was their first race back as well. And that, of course, was the race that had the amount of cautions. I believe they had 12 cautions that day. So we will see if we'll have a similar race tomorrow as well. You add in the fact that they have more horsepower in this year's race, and we saw some spins on track today. Chase Elliott in practice went around in turns 1 and 2, and Brad Keselowski in qualifying also went for a spin. A lot of drivers struggling off the exit of turn 2, either maybe slightly scraping the wall or getting loose and nearly making contact, having to lift out of the gas in qualifying as they were really going for it. It's definitely the more slippery end of the track was 1 and 2 versus 3 and 4. And the on-track activity for those Cup cars today. And we'll see how the race goes for them again for Sunday. Less than 20 and a half hours away from the start of tomorrow's Cup Series stream right here on the channel. We'll take a quick break while we're under caution for the 5th time here and our first time of Stage 3. Looks like the lights are out on the pace car. They're going to be going green this time by as the field goes through the choose rule on the front stretch. And we'll be back racing shortly. 95 laps to go in today's race when we do get to the next restart. So it'll be Justin Allgaier, our leader, out in front. Stage winners today, Ryan Sieg won Stage 1. Allgaier, the winner of Stage 2. Sieg's still very much in it. He's been in the top 5 all day. He'll restart in 5th. Outside of row 3. Allgaier elects the outside row of row number 1. Creed in 2nd place takes the outside of row 2. Same thing Allgaier did earlier. Lost a spot initially, but that outside lane definitely the more dominant lane on the restarts. Things just get very, very tight off the exit of turn 2. Get that drive off needed on the bottom, plus the launch out of the restart zone, maybe not as much grip on the bottom lane as well. Green flag back in the air, good speed for Allgaier. We haven't even seen anybody side by side for the lead up out of turn 2 all day today. We'll see how Sammy Smith holds on with the 7. Does about as well as he can this time. He's still side by side for 2nd with Creed, while Allgaier's clear down the back straightaway on both cars in his rearview mirror. Ryan Sieg up to 4th off turn number 4 as he'll have Sam Mayer cleared. And Creed gets right back into 2nd where he was running ahead of Sammy Smith in the 8. Contact, Brent Cruz washes up into Carson Kvapil. Kvapil nearly out of the groove. Multiple cars get by on the bottom. First Austin Hill. And now the 88 of Carruth is 3 wide inside. And up the track again goes Cruz into Kvapil. And again they go wide. More cars get by. Sawallic sandwich with Nick Sanchez. Almost power slams Corey Day into the wall off turn 4. Madhouse back down into turns 1 and 2 again. Some of these restarts have been wild today. A lot more calm at the front of the field. Big tap to Harrison Burton's left rear out of Brennan Poole's front bumper. And that slide up the hill costed not only one position there for Burton, but another. Oh, Sawallic, he goes around. He spins in turns 1 and 2. Will the field miss him? They do. Caution flags out again as Sawallic came into the day. First driver out of the cut line on points. He's had contact with several drivers in this final stage alone today, and this time he goes for a spin. In turns 1 and 2, our 6th caution of the race with about 90 laps to go. Well, what do we have here? And now tail end of the lead lap for the driver of the number 18. Not what the doctor ordered. First CW showing a replay in the battle between Quapple and Cruz as Cruz made contact 2 corners in a row with the 1 car after being 3 wide on both areas in which they made contact. Cruz was stuck in the middle and just couldn't hold the corner and washed up into a Quapple 2 turns in a row. Then contact between Green and Sawalich off turn 4. And then down into turns 1 and 2 for Sawalich. I was waiting to see if there was maybe more contact in turns 1 and 2. Would have been the next lap. Patrick Star-Poli poked his nose in a little late there into turn 1, clips the left rear of Sawalich, and the 18 goes around. Did a good job keeping it off the outside wall, and those couple rows of cars on that outside lane had just enough room to squeeze by and keep from getting into the back of the 18 car. Which, if that would have ended Sawalich's day, that would have really hurt his chances of trying to make the chase going into Daytona on the regular season finale in 2 weeks. And 2 off weeks for this series, so they only have 1 more race in the regular season after today. Pit road open, and the entire field is making their way down.
Road, Tim?
Including his teammate Sammy Smith. Sammy saying the bounce good, just a little bit freer, needed more grip. He said, I don't want to be freed up anymore. So crew chief Corey Shea saying, we're going to go back on that last air pressure adjustment. We'll tighten you up just a little bit, Chris. And Justin Allgaier opting to stay out. He told crew chief Andrew Overstreet, he said, it's up to you, but we've got the best car right now. We're playing with house money, and I know that that'll keep the 20 of Brandon Jones from potentially making it on fuel. But on pit road's going to be Sheldon Creed, who opted to pit, said, I'm still needing to fix the middle of the corner and then the exit, and just need a little bit of security in the rear. Or get your tires and Sunoco fuel for Sheldon Creed.
Race off Progressive Pit Road. Creed will win that easily. 7 other cars stayed out, including Justin Allgaier.
Split strategy here. Justin Allgaier staying on the track. He'll be the leader on the restart. Sheldon Creed, who was in second, comes down for 4 fresh tires, wins the race off pit road. And as you heard there from Dylan Welch, who was on play-by-play call today, top 7 stayed out of the pits under the caution. So, again, split strategy. Haven't seen a lot of tire fall off, and not really a lot of green flag laps so far in stage 3 as well. About 20 or so combined green flag laps in the stage. It's like the 7 cars who stayed out of the pits were Justin Allgaier, Sam Mayer, Nick Sanchez, Jeb Burton, Patrick Star-Poli, Parker Retzlaff, and Brandon Jones. Some of those cars hit pit road. I think Retzlaff and Jones pitted during the caution prior, so they're a little bit better on fuel. Allgaier, Mayer, Sanchez, Jeb Burton, and Star-Poli have not pitted yet, and the likelihood that they can make it on fuel to the end, not very high. Well, next restart's going to come with about 85 laps to go this time. After our 6th caution of the day, a couple yellows back-to-back after some wild restarts here at Iowa Speedway. And I'll take no give. Maybe typical short track racing there. I wonder if this is going to turn into a race like we saw in the Cup Series last year, where we get all these restarts and everybody jumbled together and unable to really stay out of each other's way and busting each other up in turns 1 and 2, as we've seen a couple times now, consecutively. Take a quick break while we await the next restart. You're listening live on KRC. HyVee Perks 250 at Iowa continues. We did close out the chat poll at the end of stage 2, by the way. Justin Allgaier was the favorite to win the race via the poll, as he leads right now at 50% of the votes. 23% of you took Ross Chastain for the win. 19% had somebody other than Allgaier, Chastain, or Carson Kvapil, who was the most recent winner in the series before this race. Carson Kvapil, only 8% of the votes, kind of struggled for today's action, as he has been having some trouble just trying to keep his car in the top 10, and on this last restart, contact multiple times with Brent Cruz, hurting that as well. Kvapil in 10th, though he was 4th in the race off pit road. 3rd, in the race off of pit road of those that just pitted. So staying out of the pits here, I think, is a very bold strategy call for Justin Allgaier, because I think he had the best car in the back half of this race. And he was really looking like that late in stage 1. He put a lot of pressure on Sieg. He just couldn't make the pass once he got the track position, beating him off pit road. He hasn't had to pass the 39, and he's been able to pass anybody else who's been in front of him all day. Now that he stays out on the racetrack, a lot of other drivers doing opposite behind him. Will the fresher tires have a little bit better advantage by 20 laps worth for those that just pitted? Good news for Allgaier is he had 6 other cars stay on the racetrack behind him for the restart, so there's going to be a little bit of a buffer between himself and Sheldon Creed in 8th, who won the race off pit road. All right, going to be set to go for the next restart again here at the Iowa Speedway. And we'll have exactly 85 laps to go. And green flag back in the air. Another good launch out of the restart zone for Allgaier. First time Sam Mayer's been on the front row today. Mix of those cars on fresh tires with those on old going to be very interesting in the back half of the top 10. Kvapil stuck in the middle of 3 wide. He's got Taylor Gray in the 54 underneath him. Ryan Sieg up near the outside. They get back to double wide racing through 3 and 4 now. Brandon Jones trying to cut to the bottom. Slightly older tires stayed out of the pits on that last restart. 3 wide into 1. Retzlaff on the bottom, also old tires. And how about Ross Chastain in the 9 car up the middle? Ryan Sieg trying to follow him in that middle groove. Lost the nose of his race car, chases up the racetrack, and Kvapil, Greg get underneath him. 3 wide down into 3 and 4, but the caution is out at the back of the pack. The 47 car has gone for a spin. That's Carson Ware and the 47, and he has backed it pretty hard against the outside retaining wall. 3 yellows here, back to back to back. Now our 7th caution of the day. Start-stop to begin stage 3. Allgaier led the first 2 laps on that restart before the yellow came back out again. And if we continue to get cautions, you almost wonder if they can make it the entire final stage without having to pit at all. And maybe that could have been part of the strategy call here for the 7 team as well. Definitely becomes more and more of a decision to have to make, because I don't think you want to pit right now only 2 extra laps on your everybody else's tires. It's not going to be worth losing all that track position pitting after everybody else just did, because if that happens, I don't think he gets back through the field and wins this race. I think them staying out and having that quick yellow forces their hand to having to stay out again. And, I mean, the best thing that can happen right now for that 7 team is we continue to get cautions like this. He can save more fuel under yellow and potentially make it this final stage without even having to pit. That would be the hope. The worst thing that could happen here is if we end up running green to the end of the race and he just doesn't have enough fuel to make it, and he has to pit the final 10 to 20 laps. Oh, man. Another late dive bomb getting into turn 1. Jesse Love at the back of the pack. I don't know what happened there. Pretty hard hit for Carson Ware. Jesse Love, by the way, about 60 laps down, making contact with the 47. Is that a way to get another point, maybe? Not finish last, because I think Ware's day is going to be done. And there's enough laps left that if Love keeps his car on track, he's going to make up a spot on Carson Ware. No, I don't think that's why he did it, but coincidentally, that's just going to be how it will work out. Free pass to Anthony Alfredo, who brought out the caution before that first spin. So in 29th place, he'll get back on the lead lap. And here's the crew chief of Justin Allgaier.
Another 20, 25 laps on the tires. It'll be right for us. Justin knows that we have an amazing precision build Branch Chevrolet, and we don't want to come too early and then have someone else this at the end because I got fresher tires. So I trust my driver to make that call, and I was good either way. So we'll just get out here and try to make the most of it. It's just great to see that we're having a good day at Brandt. I know that this group's had tough days the last couple of years here, so just try to finish it off for me.
It's Andrew Overstreet, crew chief for Justin Allgaier. You heard it, about 20 to 25 more laps, and they really liked the fire-off speed, the refire on the cycle of tires. It's proved dividends already here today. We'll see how it holds on here for another 20.
Yeah, Brandt, by the way, good sponsor for corn, Corn Power. So big race for them here at Iowa Speedway, and we'll see if they can get it done. I'd say the strategy call definitely puts them in a tighter situation to win the race. I do think it opens the door up for other drivers to have a better shot at winning just off strategy alone. That's what hurts when you have the lead and you make the decision you did to stay on the track a couple cautions ago. It leaves that door open for somebody else to get on a different strategy and challenge you, because everybody was on the same strategy to begin the final stage. This isn't really a track that yields a lot of strategy games to be played, and now with that happening, you kind of lose control of the race. And when you have to execute a race from start to finish, both on track with the driver behind the wheel as well as the strategy, they've done a great job up until that point. And now they've opened up the door for a lot of other drivers. Sheldon Creed, by the way, picking up a few spots in that restart. He's up to 5th. I would imagine we'll be outside of row 3 for the next restart. And does he make a run at Allgaier here within early going of this next green flag run? If we get enough green flag laps, of course, for him to get there. Creed got his first win in series history back at Atlanta in the spring. He's had a consistent year. He's pretty much been top 3 or 4 in points all season. He's 3rd in the standings coming into today. Actually, no, he was 4th in points coming into the day, but with Jesse Love having his problems, he's got a very good probability he'll be 3rd after the race. And with a win, he might have enough points to try to overtake for 2nd on Carson Kvapil, who has not had a very good afternoon. So maybe Sheldon Creed is looking at a potential 2 seed entering the chase. After Sheldon Creed in 5th, the next highest in the running order who has pitted already in the final stage will be Ross Chastain in 7th. Who we haven't really talked about as much of a contender to win today's race. He hasn't led at all. He was 2nd place very early in the going, but really faded over the course of this one. Got a couple spots on that last restart, the back half of the top 10, and he's 2nd place on his current strategy, and very likely he's good on fuel to the end. Maybe Chastain can take it. Field doubled up again. We'll try this with about 76 laps to go this time by. Another Allgaier Mayer front row, with Mayer on the inside of row 1 to Allgaier. Pace car pulls onto pit road as they fire into the restart zone. Mayer trying to keep tight. Green flag back in the air. Not as good of a launch out of the restart zone by the 7. Great timing by the 41. Couple cars diving well down to the inside. Mayer going to try to hold on with Justin Allgaier off turn 2 down the backstretch, but Justin just gets a great drive off. Down into turns 3 and 4. A lot of 3 wide battles again. One car goes for a spin in the center of 3 and 4, and caution is out again. Now it's LeVar Scott in the 45. Cautions, breeding cautions for stage 3. Now, these last 2 have come from cars at the tail end of the field. Both Carson Ware and LeVar Scott were outside the top 25. Ware was actually off the lead lap. Scott at the tail end of the lead lap this time, and I'm sure there was some contact that resulted in this incident as well. Usually on short tracks, that is the case. Not all the time. We didn't see Kyle Sieg have a self-spin earlier, but most of the time on a short track, there's a lot of contact. And we'll see who it was from. Didn't get a good angle of that one. Actually, it looked like Ryan Ellis might have made contact with the wall trying to miss Scott as well. Honestly, it was tough to tell if he had contact. He was on the bottom lane of the racetrack. Honestly, I haven't seen a good enough angle to tell if there was contact or not. I'd almost lean towards the side. It didn't look like there was contact, but we haven't seen any self-spins in 3 and 4 yet.
Penalty on pit road, so he's not really.
Well, the good news for Allgaier, he can try to save more fuel. Bad news is Sheldon Creed up another spot. Now he's in 4th.
So always 2020.
So then that's what I was. So what I was going to say is, they get a good idea of the difference in tires, because there's 25 or 30 laps difference in what Creed has for tires versus Allgaier. If he's able to drive right by Justin here, that would give you, a little more hope. But if not, I just think it's going to be tough for the 7 to come from the back.
Yes.
Yeah, you'd like some green flag laps here. Pits are open there. You'd like some green flag laps so these guys that have newer tires wear their stuff out a little bit. So when you do put those tires on, your advantage of that is that much bigger. So a lot to unpack still here in Iowa.
All right, well, under caution again here at Iowa Speedway, less than 75 laps to go. Short track racing on a Saturday evening. Justin Allgaier leads for now, but doesn't seem to be on the best pit strategy that could maybe get him his 7th win of the season in this series. Go through the full field running order here. Allgaier leads. Sam Mayer's in 2nd. Jeb Burt in 3rd. Sheldon Creed in 4th. And Nick Sanchez rounding out the top 5 in 5th. Ross Chastain 6th. Ryan Sieg 7th. Patrick Starpoli 8th. Carson Kvapil 9th. And Brandon Jones in 10th. With Parker Retzlaff 11th. Raja Crew 12th. Brent Cruz 13th. Austin Hill 14th. And Taylor Gray 15th. 16th is Dean Thompson. Jeremy Clement 17th. Brennan Poole 18th. Corey Day 19th. And William Sawalich in 20th. Harrison Burke 21st, Mason Maggio 22nd, Sammy Smith 23rd, Ryan Ellis 24th, and 25th is Joey Gase. Carson Brown in 26th, Anthony Alfredo 27th, 28th Blaine Perkins, Ryan Ellis 29th, and LeVar Scott, who just had that spin, is still last on the lead lap for now in 30th. Garrett Smithley will get the free pass in 31st to get back on the lead lap with caution. Nathan Bird in 32nd off the lead lap. He had a spin back at stage 1. Derek Lemke is 33rd, 34th for Josh Bilicki, Tyler Tomasi 35th, Carson Ware 36th, 37th Jesse Love. Probably going to have a little less than 70 laps to go in the next restart. Now racking up the yellows. 8 cautions so far today, 2 lead changes still, and may not have seen the last, I think, with the strategy Justin Allgaier's on. Like I said, I mean, the best thing that could happen for him from here on out is what we've seen already in stage 3 is caution after caution, that he saves enough fuel and can actually stretch this final run if that is possible. Of the cars that hit pit road, the vast majority pitted under the yellow with 95 laps to go to try to make it to the end. So in hindsight, I mean, it seems like he would have to save about 30 laps of fuel from the start of the stage. It's tough to gauge exactly how many caution laps we've had in stage 3. We've had 48 in the race total, but we've had, if you count the stage break at lap 120, we've had caution laps 5 different times. We've had 4 yellows in the final stage alone, and then we had the caution laps at the end of stage 2. So he has been able to save a decent amount. And when he actually would have pitted, it probably would have been a couple laps after lap 120 anyway. So it's probably closer to like 26 or 27 laps of gas he would have to save. We've got to be getting close to that many caution laps at least. Obviously, he's not saving full laps worth of fuel, but I mean, he's got to be saving quite a few.
Return of CW Push Fall Saturday, August 29th, 6:30 p.m. Eastern on the CW and streaming live on the ESPN app. Coming to green, Allgaier Mayer out front again.
And no matter when they do get to pit, I think we're getting a great example of how tough it's going to be for Justin Allgaier and Sam Mayer to drive back to this field. Think of the subsequent restarts we've had here with Jeff Burke, Nick Sanchez, Patrick Starpoint. These were cars outside the top 15 on older tires who have not been passed. This is going to be a tall task for the 7 to 41.
Allgaier again chooses the outside lane as the race leader. Back to green with 71 to go. Now going to be Sheldon Creed on those new tires. Looking for an opening.
Well, he tried to go in the middle, though. It's going to get the whole field on the bottom right there. It puts Creed in a really vulnerable position. Actually going to lose a position right here off turn 2.
It's Ross Chastain in the 9 on the inside of Creed, racing for the 4th spot.
She saw Ross rush the throttle right there to get in front of Creed, who's struggling on this restart.
Mayer going to work on Allgaier for the race 3 here.
Oh, Creed's going even further back.
Nick Sanchez.
They're bullying him out of the top 5 here. In danger of losing 2 more. Austin Hill, Brandon.
Speaking of bully. Speaking of bully, Austin Hill is the one.
That's position of the guys that have pitted. He's in 4th position right now and has enough fuel to get to the end.
Oh!
Here's got a crash, potentially on the front stretch, and there's the caution. There it is.
That's actually, he's
long. For the 92, driven by Mason Maggio.
Mason, I think, was the recipient.
Yeah, you're going to need a set.
Yeah, left rear. Need a left rear. 48 of Patrick Starpoli down the front stretch into Mason, and looked like Patrick was going to end up heading into the infield, but didn't actually get a chance to look at it. And it just hooked Maggio, who, oh, you see that right rear, it's just going to destroy the body on that one. It starts to come apart.
Yeah, that left rear gone, the right rear.
Well, he slid about 3/4 of a mile down the front stretch. Yeah, unfortunately, he didn't hit anything, but
yeah, pretty remarkable job. A couple of those that maybe should have been much bigger crashes that have somehow turned into just single car incidents really at the end. We see caution of the day. We've had 9 cautions in each of the last 2 Iowa races. Here's a look at it.
Yeah, so there's 48 right there. Brennan, there was a checkup off behind Retzloff. He gets Brennan Poole runs to the back of the 48. Maggio hides forever.
They were around 21st and 22nd.
Saves the car. He's like destroy the tires, just get hooked into the outside wall. That could have a massive impact. That's such a horrible feeling when you're Mason Maggio there. You get right reared like that. It's just out of nowhere. Sometimes you maybe have an indication out of the corner of your eye that there's you see the color of a car coming towards you. So you see Patrick Starpoli on pit road right there, that left front damage.
Let's check back in on the 7, the race leader. Here's some team radio.
My God. He heard the 17 reference earlier, like we're playing with house money. I feel like in that position, you actually pit on the front side and gamble on the fuel and take a chance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like the opposite has happened here. And, you know, there's frustration on the radio, but I feel like when you're in the position they're in is when you actually gamble on fuel and take a chance. I feel like this was an uncharacteristic call for Andrew Overstreet. I feel like, you know, Justin, we heard it on the radio. Justin really led this in terms of them staying out the way they did. You know, I think of Andrew as someone who's more sort of stayed to the well-beaten path of following what everyone else is doing and say, hey, we've got the best car. We don't need to beat them on strategy. We can beat it straight up on speed or stretching fuel. But there's a lot of caution laps. Yeah, this was an odd call, and they're definitely going to have to sort of lick their wounds here because he's going to go way back
and have to work his way through this field when they do eventually play.
It's so frustrating for the 7 because for years we've watched him dominate races and the strategy or the calls have cost the 7 a lot of race wins, even though they're able, I mean, every week they're a contender to win, but it just seems like it's going to bite them one more time today.
Free pass in this yellow will be Derek Lemke, the 91 car, the other DGM car in the field. And we'll expect the front runners, at least those that haven't pitted, here on pit road in a matter of moments. And we'll see how much of a difference new tires make. With 65 laps to go this time by, Jeff Burton stayed out. Allgaier and Mayer and Sanchez, the other 3 at the front, decide to come down and take their tires and make their final stop of the day. Let's check in with Chris Wilner.
Yeah, Dylan, you heard it from the radio chatter with Andrew Overstreet and Justin Allgaier just saying we might as well come down now. Justin's still confident in his ability to drive through the field. And he said, you know what, I need more time maybe to do so. So let's come now at the split point here in this final stage. It'll be 4 Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel. Said the car's still really good, and now they're going to have enough fuel for a green-white checkered scenario. On the right side of your screen, Sam Mayer also in, last pitted on lap 125 with Allgaier. They also, too, feel like the car is really good. Maybe a slight air pressure adjustment. He's down and away as Sam Mayer goes back on the offense. Again, hanging around here at the end, trying to go for 3 in a row. But, boy, both these cars have to come from deep in the field.
Yeah, and one positive, as Chris said there, if you do get in a situation where there's some guys that are having to save or be conscious of their fuel number, not going to be the case for the 7 and the 41 and the 87 that just came down and made their stops right there. So it's not over with 65 to go, but certainly some different strategies and different approaches, including the strategy taken by the 2017 Kim.
Yeah, and I thought they were on the same strategy as the 7 and the 41. Doesn't quite sound like it. Obviously, they did not come down like those other 2 cars. Take a listen, though, to the in-car audio between driver Jet Burton and his crew chief, JC Umshide. So as I understand that, guys, you heard that too. It sounds like if they get those 3 caution laps, they're going to try to connect their last stop on 125 to the end of the race at 250. That's 125 laps. Granted, there have been a high number of those under caution.
News for them is at the rate we're going, they're going to have problem fuel. So keep out all these cautions, but that is an incredibly long time to make it on fuel, considering some of these guys that pitted 5 laps later are still kind of concerned with being able to make it.
As we work our 9th caution of the day, with 64 to go, let's head to the CW garage and check in with Carla Metz.
Yeah, thanks, Dylan. Well, let's talk a little bit more about Brandon Jones. Has 10 top 10s in the last 13 races. That's more than any other driver in the field. Now, despite the consistency, he told me this week he still feels like they've fallen off as a group as far as getting those stage points and moving up in the standings. He said without the stage points, those top 10s, they just don't feel as nice. They were shooting for a big week, but so far just 3 stage points in this race. Still shooting for a top 10, though, which would still be good for a team. This 20 team, only 3 top 10s in the last 14 short track races.
Yeah, they could use a good run for sure. For some momentum, the choose underway. One of the cars that came down there was Parker Retzloff, had a penalty for too many crew members over the wall, so they'll drop just a couple more spots to the back of the line here. So let's see where the 7 and the 41 came out here. The cars that were at the front.
It's keep going.
Yeah, well, keep going. Still don't see them. There
he is.
So about a straightaway to make up here.
They're outside the top 20. It's essentially about 23rd, 24th. When they last crossed the line. That is a lot of cars to pass. And we have not seen anyone really pass that many cars.
Yeah, now I don't know what you want. Do you want yellows to bunch everybody up? Do you want a long green run?
They either need yellows or they take massive advantage of red cars, or they need a really long green flag run.
Well, we're all going to find out together what strategy was the right one. Back to green with 62 laps to go. Jeff Burton, the control car from the outside lane. It's the edge for now on Ross Chastain to the inside of turn 1.
Oh, Justin Allgaier all the way to the top 3 wide. He's going to pick up a bunch of spots. Towards the back as the battle for the lead continues.
That was productive for Allgaier.
Look at how much ground he's going to make up again. He's going to get 2 more in turns 3 and 4. A little check up there. He was shoved up.
Jeff Burton's gone back to 4th here. Chastain goes to the lead. Flopple to 2nd. Ryan Seed challenging for 3rd.
Are all the way up to 15th.
That's the
Ryan
progress.
Seed. He's
Early
been fast all day. I think he's from a good start.
race. Message delivered for the driver of the 7.
Just Allgaier gained 8. And that's incredible.
Well, hey, and look, I have to imagine as the driver, when you make that decision, right, to stay out like that,
And they're 4 wide again.
the charge forward. Well, this is Mayer there as well.
Problem for Allgaier right now is they're 2 wide in front of him. So there's nowhere to go. He needs those guys to get single file, whether it's on the bottom or the top, to give him the position he needs.
Ryan Sieg, man on the move.
Sieg won stage 1, had a fast car, bad pit stop. He's now put himself in a good position again.
That's the battle for 2nd. Quapple has it. Seeing once. Jeff Burton has settled out in the 4th spot here, but NASCAR's behind him. It's Austin Hill, Brent Cruz knocking on the door.
And Jeff's got such a tall task here. He was, ran most this race around the top 15. They get vaulted to the front on this strategy on way older tires. He's just doing the best he can to hang on as Brent Cruz gets his left rear right there.
I'll tell you what, Cruz has not been afraid to stick his nose in the middle of some of these battles, and he has been physical all day long today.
You don't want to poke that bear, though.
Oh.
So,
Not a good one to mess with. Got it 2 or 3 times there into 1 and 2, and make here in 3. Oh, Jeff will pump the brakes and lets it go.
Brent's going to have to hope to get away.
well, yeah, for sure. Just Jeb won't appreciate what's happening right there. And
19 got one in the wall. It's Corey Day, I think, back in the pack. It is.
Wow.
Caution's out for the 10th time.
I think that's good for Allgaier. Get him stacked back up again. Passed 8 cars in that first lap, and then over the next 4 or 5 laps, was only able to get 1 more.
Day was running 15th. Got into the wall. I think courtesy of some front bumper contact. Went up at pretty hard contact, yeah, with the outside wall, and it's come to a stop. Which believe that thing's not drivable.
You see the deck lid. That's really hard hit. Awkward angle as well. The way that car went into the wall.
There you have it. Day over, it sounds like, for the 17. Maybe they're not down. So Allgaier had moved up, as we said, 9 spots on that restart. And Sammy Smith on the inside of Day.
So the top right here, and that's just a really awkward angle.
It's almost like he was loose and whether he got hit and got loose, but had overcorrected. And, that car shoot up the racetrack at that angle.
I think there was contact. It was where the 17 of Corrier was turning down, maybe anticipating being clear. Sammy put his nose there late, just contacted him the wrong way. When that car corrected to the right, you see Corey Day just go into the wall. A really harsh angle to see him up and walking out of that race car.
Yeah, the preferred groove here is to take this big wide arc into one, and you're just so vulnerable, especially on restarts of guys filling the shorter distance around the track, and it's like they just connected kind of,
It's an option to do that. You can do it. It's just you put yourself and that outside car in an awkward position. Let's take a look at Justin Allgaier here on that restart. The top side, 3 wide. I didn't think this was an option. It didn't work for him. You see everyone get checked up down there? He just goes to the top and says, see y'all later.
Restarted 22nd, and he'll restart now in 13th. Pretty good progress in a couple of laps.
Well, he got almost every one of those cars in 300 feet. Yeah. Like all checked up, as you mentioned, he had the momentum on the outside because Mayer in the 41, you see 6 or 8 cars behind him was actually in front of him on that restart. The guy bottled up in the middle of that.
Here's Jeff Burton in for his final stop, Kim.
Yeah, pivoting from that strategy we heard on the radio of trying to make it to the end of the race on their fuel after losing the track position. Remember, restarted in the lead all the way down to 8 before they came down pit road. They will put fresh tires on it. Boost has been the complaint all race long. Jeff saying it's a little bit better, but still need more rear security.
Well, Jeff's just got to put it in the outside lane and do adjusting.
It's been shown what to do. Yep. You just have to go pull it off. I will be curious if Justin can do that as he's further up in the field. You know, that was a lot of checkups and.
Or if he takes the outside again. Like, if he want to be in the outside to try to do that same move.
Well, I think he has.
It's really his best option.
10th caution of the day, and it involves the 17 car of Corey Day. Hard contact here in turn 1 and 2. Glad to see him climb out of that car under his own power.
Just dropped the stat line in the chat there a couple seconds ago. That with this being the 10th caution of the race, this is the most yellows we've seen at Iowa Speedway in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series since its first race at Iowa Speedway back in 2009. That race won by Brad Keselowski, had 12 cautions for 56 caution laps. You know, I will say, too, this era of NASCAR, we run a lot of caution laps during the course of a yellow. And yeah, I don't know why that is. Like, I don't know if it's that they take extra time to sweep the racetrack, for instance, during the yellow to clean. The procedures definitely need to be tidied up because we had 2 more cautions in that race than what we have right now. And we've ran more caution laps today than what we did back in 2009 when we had 12 yellows. Had 56 laps of caution in that race, and we've already had 59 today, and we haven't even gone back green from our 10th caution unit. Like, if we had 12 cautions today, we'd probably have more. And I'm even looking back at, like, the last couple of years here. We had 9 cautions last season's race for 61 caution laps, which was also more laps of yellow than we had the day that we had the most cautions in series history here. So they definitely got to tidy some things up with cautions. We had 71 caution laps with 9 cautions in 2024, as well. What we had that day in 2009. Also looking at this, we have seen a lot of current Cup Series drivers win at Iowa. Like, I feel like we've had more current Cup drivers win an O'Reilly race at Iowa than any other O'Reilly track that the Cup Series currently races at. Chase Briscoe, Christopher Bell, Ryan Preece, William Byron, Eric Jones, Ryan Blaney, Chris Buescher, Brad Keselowski, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and with Kyle Busch racing this year, if you want to throw Kyle Busch in there as well, those are all the drivers who have won an O'Reilly race at Iowa. That's a long list. Recount that. Briscoe, Bell, Preece, Byron, Jones, Blaney, Buescher, Keselowski, Stenhouse, and if you count Kyle Busch, that's 10. 10 current Cup drivers have won at Iowa Speedway. Sam Mayer has won the last 2 here, trying to go for 3 in a row. Pit strategy that he and Olga are on, going to make things a little bit tough for him. Still mid-pack. And we're only going to have about 50 laps to go in this next restart. Ross Chastain and Ryan Sieg on the front row. Sieg got to 2nd place right before that caution came out. He won stage 1. He qualified on the pole. He's got speed. I think of the guys in the top 5 right now. Of the guys in the top 5 right now, Ryan Sieg is the one I'm keeping my eye on as the guy who I think has the best chance to win this race if he can execute the restart. By that, he doesn't have to take the lead. He just has to not lose 2nd place here and keep himself within a very close proximity of Chastain in front of him. Green flag is going to be back in the air. Great restart for Sieg. He's actually got his nose out in front of Chastain through turns 1 and 2 down to the bottom of the racetrack, and he's looking for the lead. Now down the back straight into turn 3, nose to nose, 39 and 9. That's exactly what he needed to do. Now he needs to not overdrive the car. If Chastain ends up with the lead here, that's fine. Just stay with him. Don't make a mistake that's going to bring anybody else back into contention. There are 49 laps left. He's got plenty of time to make this pass on a guy he's outran all day. Now, you don't want to get held up too much and maybe lead for a Quapple or Hill to get in there. And I'd argue Quapple has been the worst of these 3 up in the front of the field all day today. He has struggled to run in the top 10 at times. Sieg trying to chase the lead right now is like a rabbit trying to chase a carrot on a treadmill. It's just dangling right in front of him. And he wants it bad. Maybe more so than any other driver up here at the front of the field. Sieg to the inside for the lead. On Chastain into turns 1 and 2. 47 laps to go. With Allgaier, who's been the class of the field, trying to make his way back through the pack on an alternate pit strategy. Is back up to 10th, but it's going to take him quite some time to still get through that many cars. And if it stays green to the end, I just don't think he does it. Chastain holds on for another lap, and again, Sieg is in the rearview mirror of the 9. Sieg's gotten alongside of him one time since the restart when he stayed alongside of Chastain for about an entire lap. 5 runner-up finishes in the series. 422 career starts, most without a win in series history. His start number 423. The number, that magic number for Ryan Sieg. And he is driving the wheels off of it right now. Sheldon Creed still very much in contention. He's been quick today too. But when the 39 has had the track position, he didn't get past earlier. He lost the lead because of a slow pit stop. Well, guess what? No more pit stops the rest of the way. And he's on the inside, and he looks for the lead on Chastain. He's got his nose out in front on the bottom of the track, and he clear off turn 2. Good drive back into the gas for Chastain. A little bit better corner exit speed on the high side for Ross. Boiling down into 3 and 4 now. The 9 car has a better point off turn 4. Sieg going to stay alongside of him, but Chastain has the advantage into turn 1. Sieg might have to restart that pass attempt again. He was so close to clearing off turn 2 that last time by. Couldn't slam the door shut. And now he'll be a half a car length behind as they enter through 3 and 4, coming up on 41 laps to go this time by. Plenty of time. We've seen some great battles for the lead today between the likes of Sheldon Creed and Justin Allgaier. Sieg and Allgaier at the end of stage 1, and now it's Sieg and Chastain. Chastain did have a win in the series back at Charlotte earlier this season for Junior Motorsports in a range-shortened race. Trying to capture the checkered flag outright here today. And again, Sieg much better than Chastain. Gets to the back bumper off turn 4. He just has not been able to complete the pass yet. He's racing this 9 car cleanly. He knows he has to know he's got the better race car right now. And he hasn't had a chance to get that track position back after falling out of the top 2 earlier. And again, he gets to the inside. Can he pick Chastain behind the slow car? No. Lap car gets out of the way of the leaders. That wasn't going to happen. And Chastain's just narrowly going to hang on again. If they battle side by side for too long, you wonder if maybe they use both of their stuff up too much, and then Carson Kvapil is able to make the attack. Because outright, I don't think he's got the pace these top 2 have in front of him. But, I mean, they've been side by side like 3 times now, and every opportunity that Sieg does get to the inside of the 9 is he maybe using his stuff up just a little bit too early in the run. How many more opportunities is he going to have a run like that to make the pass?
Good for you. Are you okay? What happened to your display?
Outside the infield first line.
Yeah. Shit. I don't even know what I did to do to deserve that. I never raced around the guy all day, so yeah, I don't know. Nothing to say. Thanks, Corey.
See him out of the care center.
Sometimes less is more.
It is.
Yeah, a little bit of a big hit there. Corey Day keeping himself out of trouble via the media there. Obviously displeasured by his early exit to today's race. Top 10 in the running order. The interval between them with 34 laps to go has Ross Chastain in the lead by about 0.3 of a second over Ryan Sieg in P2. A half a second back is Carson Kvapil in third. 1.2 out of the lead for Sheldon Creed in fourth. And 2.2 seconds out of the lead is Austin Hill in fifth. Jeremy Clements up in sixth place. Good run for him today. Quiet but solid. 2.4 seconds out of the lead. Raja Kruth in seventh. 3.3 back. Justin Allgaier 3.7 back in eighth. Brent Cruz 4.2 seconds off the lead in ninth. And Taylor Gray 4.5 seconds out of the lead, rounding out the top 10. Allgaier just made a pass for seventh that last time by, and his teammate Cruz. So Allgaier up to seventh. Up 5 positions from the latest restart. And 3.5 seconds out of the lead with just 33 laps to go. Sieg back a little bit closer to Chastain again. Better that last lap than the 9 car in front of him. And if we get a long green flag run to the end of the race, how much more lap traffic are these leaders going to have to deal with? Because there's definitely going to be some. First couple they've caught that have had damage at the back of the pack that kind of stayed out of the way. But if they catch maybe cars that don't have the damage on their natural pace, what is that going to look like? Got a Cup veteran, Chastain, handful of Cup Series victories. Really just wins across each of the top 3 series against a guy who has never won in a top 3 series. And Kvapil, who just won his first race of the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series of his career just at Indy 2 weeks ago, the most recent race we've had on this schedule here in 2026.
Again, rising to the occasion late in the race.
Boy, what a freeing moment that was for him, just to get that 3 months off his back. Come in droves after that. Once you get that first one checked off, good spot to be in for the one here.
Which one's the hardest? All 3 of them running a little bit of a different line right here. It's like Ross kind of running the highest. Everyone's just trying to get a little bit of clean air on the nose, trying to find grip. Carson, see on the left, able to run just a little lower. They can run quicker entry through the middle, but just kills the exit slow all the way down the straightaway. Ross, if he stays in that kind of splitting that seam on entry, just kills those guys if they can't get the momentum they need on exit. I gotta think that the lap car is what's gonna come after.
Oh boy, yeah, he got close to him. They made here. Sieg had to check up. It looked like maybe closed in on the back of the 9 sooner than he anticipated. And Kvapil's there to capitalize. Race for second.
Sieg's able to hang on right there.
Robert's loving it. You two run side by side. I'll just away.
You couldn't tell what checked up Ross so much. It looked to me like he was just rolling the bottom and just out of nowhere. It's like those guys had caught him.
Sieg trying to get clear of Kvapil down the back straightaway, and he will.
But they were a half second a lap slower than the leader the last time by. That was huge for Ross.
Yep.
But, and you talked about how quickly...
Only 28 laps to go. The laps are winding down quickly now that we're green. Obviously, with this being a short track, Sieg, after that battle for second, nearly losing it because of a lap car, kind of getting in his way up out of turn 4. Tough, though, when you're side by side. Kvapil really put him in that vulnerable position, getting to the inside off turn 2 as the lapper was up on the top, and Sieg gets by Kvapil. He's pulled away from him a bit, and the last lap, a couple hundreds faster than Chastain again. So get back in a rhythm. He can get back on the attack. This thing is not over yet with this many laps to go. Allgaier, by the way, up to 6th now. Brent Cruz has dropped back 2 spots in recent laps. Cruz back into 7th once again. Last time by, Allgaier was about a 10th faster than the race leaders. He's got quite the deficit. He's still got a handful of positions, but if we catch another caution, maybe picks up a spot or 2 before that next yellow, he's very much in it. Jeremy Clements' problems. That's what's dropped him out of the top 6. It looks like he might have a tire going down. Tough break after a solid run up inside the top 10. After a good run at Indy, although didn't get the finish he probably would have hoped for that day after winning stage 1 in that race, but they've shown some serious speed now 2 weeks in a row. And here comes Allgaier now for 5th, peeking to the inside of Austin Hill. And Sheldon Creed only a couple more car lengths further up the way in 4th. Allgaier wrapping that white line on both ends of the racetrack, slipping to that left rear corner panel of Hill, and may have a shot to get by him this time through 1 and 2. To the bottom of the racetrack goes Allgaier. Fresher tires, slightly fresher tires, but between that and having the fastest car in the field, that's going to be just enough for him to make this pass cleanly on the 21, up to 5th for Justin Allgaier. And even after making the pass on the 21 car, he's back to wrapping the white line on both ends of the racetrack. It's consistently about 1/10 of a second faster than the leader every lap. Maybe a little bit more than that some laps versus others. Pass for second on track, Carson Kvapil has gotten back by Ryan Sieg. I wonder what happened to the 39 car. He's within 0.7 of a second of the leader, and now he's 1.4 back. Nice lap, was a couple tenths slower than the top two. Might need to see a replay of Kvapil making the pass on Sieg. That happened off the hard cam. 20 to go this time by. Is Chastain's deficit too much for second or third place to try to overcome? Allgaier going for 4th on Creed. These two had a heck of a battle for the lead back at stage 2. Creed with a slightly more disadvantage, though, this time on tires. Still going to make this tough. Big gain off turn 4 for Allgaier. He has been beating Creed in that end of the track in particular all day when they battled with one another. And I wouldn't be surprised if Allgaier's just better off turn 4 compared to every other car in the field. And that has been really the difference maker between himself and just the speed and everybody else. He's just able to keep the car so low off turn 4. Slipped the rear tires that time. Tried to hammer down. Back to the inside again through 1 and 2. You can see the back of the car wiggling as he makes that cut through the center of the corner. Another wiggle off the exit by Allgaier. Sails it off into turns 3 and 4. Lap car in the way of Creed on the outside. Allgaier going to get clear, and he's up to 4th. Creed unable to get back alongside to the bottom and try a crossover into 1 and 2. Allgaier will drive away from the 0-0. So he's up to 4th. Problem is only 16 laps to go now at the line. And Carson Kvapil, meanwhile, has been chunking away at Ross Chastain for the lead. He's within 0.9 of a second. Kvapil have enough to try to get 2 in a row. Sieg is losing a lot of ground to the 2 cars ahead of him. Probably used his stuff up a little too early in the run with those multiple pass attempts that were failed in trying to get by Chastain. Sieg's now fallen over 2.5 seconds out of the lead, and Allgaier is going to get to 3rd here shortly. And if Allgaier can get to 3rd, making quick work of Ryan Sieg, is there any way that the 1 and the 9 battle enough that Allgaier can pull this comeback off? I thought if it stayed green to the end of the race, he had no shot to get up there, but he has gained 8 positions from 12th on the restart with 50 laps to go. And in 36 of those 50 laps has driven his way to 4th. Getting another lap car in the rearview mirror on the outside lane. He switched it up a bit. He's running that wider groove now. He was wrapping the bottom on both ends of the track up until he got to 4th. Just searching for something a little more, because although his pace is quicker than the leaders, I don't think it's quick enough to catch them before he runs out of laps. To the outside of Sieg for 3rd. I'm not quite going to get there yet. Also a battle for 6 between Brent Cruz and Austin Hill on a side-by-side battle. Chastain a little bit better the last couple laps, evening the lap times out with the second place car behind him of Carson Kvapil. Justin Allgaier now to the back bumper of Ryan Sieg again. Looks to the inside through 3 and 4. Should be able to make the pass in 1 and 2. Maybe made slight contact off turn 4. Sieg going to pinch him down the track. Allgaier gets loose, and that costed him. And I think a lot of that had to do with the contact made off turn 4. I think Sieg having contact with Justin Allgaier off turn 4, I should say the 7 sliding up into the 39, made for the 39, not giving him any room in 1 and 2, and that costed Justin Allgaier a lot of time. It's going to take a whole lap to get back by Ryan Sieg now, and not only a whole lap, but he lost about a second to the leaders. He's quite literally driving the wheels off of it still, so much so that it has now bit him a bit. Gets to the outside of Sieg again. This time he'll complete the pass off turn 4 and up to third for Allgaier, but he might have wasted just a little bit too much time making that pass for position. It was going to be hard for him to get up there anyway, but now it's going to be even harder. Carson Kvapil back to chunking away at Chastain. There's a couple of lap cars not that far in front of our race leader. About 3 of them within picture. And 8 laps to go. Kvapil, pretty solid short track racer in his own right. With multiple Cars Tour victories before making his way full-time into the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series at Junior Motorsports. Of course, where Dale Jr. discovered the talented Carson Kvapil. Big gain through 3 and 4 that time. I don't know how much of it was the lap car as much as it was just a mistake by Chastain, because Kvapil was so much faster through 3 and 4 that last time. And Chastain practically had the lapper already clear, but now Kvapil's got to make the pass on that same 91 car through 1 and 2, and that might have cost him just a bit of time. Chastain to the bottom, trying to get by the 31 of Blaine Perkins. Perkins will let him go. Chastain clear off turn 4. Kvapil will try to catch him next. I don't know if Kvapil's going to get to Perkins in 1 and 2. It might be in 3 and 4 the next time by. 6 laps to go, and the difference probably 5 to 6 car lengths, and a lapper as well between the top 2. This is going to be interesting. Kvapil soars down to the bottom of the racetrack. Creed, Brent Cruz battle for 5th on screen, right side. Left side, battle for the lead with 4 to go. And caution is out on the racetrack. Spin, Jeb Burton, left rear tire is flat off turn 2, and the caution flag is out for the 11th time today. And this is going to force an overtime finish, as we will not get this race restarted with more than 2 laps to go. Well, well, well. What do we have here? Caution flag is out, and this is going to open the door up for Justin Allgaier to have another crack at it. And I would not be shocked if he goes inside of row number 2 and tries to make it 3 wide. It's a tough spot. I mean, we've seen the second place car take the outside of row 2 a lot today. But I think in a overtime restart situation, I don't think Kvapil's going to do that this time. I do think Kvapil takes the inside of row 1. I just think with 2 laps to go, it's a completely different circumstance in the middle of the race. Taking the outside of row 2. But Allgaier having a slight tire advantage. I wonder if the outside of row 2, does he try to win the race in the first corner, or does he try to take the entirety of those 2 laps to get it done? And Chastain did not fire off well in the last restart outside of row 1 as well. Chastain was outside of Ryan Sieg on the last restart with 50 laps to go. And Sieg actually had his front bumper out in front of Chastain most of the way through 1 and 2. He just couldn't clear high off turn 2. Chastain finally had that run And that was really the first time all day long where we've seen a restart where the leader on the outside of row 1 had not been clear off turn 2. Now, Chastain being the veteran he is, he gets a second chance at it. Whatever he did wrong the first time, I'm sure he's going to try to fix this time, but he was not perfect by any means on his last go at it. Despite the outside lane having the distinct advantage, especially on that front row. Next question is do we see anybody come to pit road and take that last set of fresh tires with 2 laps left? I don't think so. I don't think we've seen enough tire fall off today, and there are still 24 cars on the lead lap. If there were more than 24, if there were a lot less than 24 on the lead lap, maybe. Like if we had less than 10 cars on the lead lap, but I think there are far too many cars on the lead lap to see anybody at the front of the field pit here. Yeah, top at least half dozen are staying out, and even more than that. I don't know if pit road was actually open that time or not, but it's going to come down to a restart with all these drivers up at the front of the field right now, staying out of the pits. They're going to be on their same cycle of tires, and they're going to have to work for at least one more restart. We've seen a lot of cautions on restarts today already. I would not be shocked if we see multiple overtimes here. Well, this will be interesting. So a 2-lap overtime restart. Here at Iowa Speedway. Ross Chastain, Cup Series regular, looking for his second win. And the number 9 this year at Junior Motorsports, Carson Kvapil, looking for 2 in a row after finally getting that first career win at Indy 2 weeks ago in the most recent race. And Justin Allgaier, 6 wins already on the season. He's locked into the regular season championship. Looking for win number 7 to get that much closer to the top 5 all time in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series wins list. Ryan Sieg, looking for career win number 1 and start 422. Won stage 1, started on pole, was strong on that last restart. He's back at 4th. He has lost a bit. You can tell he used a lot of his stuff up, but it's hard telling what's going to go on in this front row. You got Allgaier who's been ultra aggressive, and I think he'll push it. We know how aggressive Chastain can be. It could open the door up for somebody else that isn't in that top 3 to win. Especially if Chastain does not fire off very well for the second time. If he does not fire off well on this restart, whether Allgaier takes the bottom of row 2 or the top, you can bet he's going to sail it in. If it's the outside of row 2 for Allgaier and Chastain does not fire off well, I think Allgaier sails it into turn 3 on the restart. I don't think he gets there in turns 1 and 2, taking that long way around, but he's going to have a lot of momentum off turn 2 with those fresher tires. And they don't have as much of an advantage as what they did 40-plus laps ago when they last restarted on the fresh tires. But he still has somewhat of an advantage. And again, he has had the fastest car in the field today, too. I think if he had that many laps on his tires total during that last green flag run to the next restart, and he didn't have the fastest car in the field, his advantage wouldn't be as good as it is now. But because he has had that kind of raw speed today, that definitely aids him. So we got Chastain, Kvapil front row. Allgaier does take the outside of row 2, so that puts Sieg inside of row 2, and obviously Chastain outside of row 1 as the leader. Kvapil, I don't think Kvapil's been on the front row at all in this race. And I think that that's going to be an advantage for Chastain. I think Kvapil being on the restart of the front row for the first time all day today has not been able to fire off on the inside of row 1. That could hurt him. And Chastain, for the second consecutive restart outside of row 1, I think that helps. All right, will this be the final restart? We'll see. Like I said, I don't doubt that this goes multiple overtimes. Green flag is back in the air. Oh, wheel spin by Chastain. I think the 7 got in the back of him, and here comes Allgaier to the outside. Meanwhile, at the bottom, it's Quapple. Oh, we got a crash. Allgaier's around. Contacted from Sam Mayer in the 41 is in the middle of it. You have to see a replay of that. I don't know if it was Sieg that got into Allgaier first. Mayer goes around. Sieg's got damage. I think Sieg washed up into the 7. Caution flag is out. Multiple chase bubble drivers with damage. Cruz, Mayer, and Sieg all involved, all on the chase bubble. And I think the crash started with Ryan Sieg chasing his car up the track in 1 and 2, making contact with Allgaier. They slid into the wall, and then we saw a couple others kind of slide behind them. Quapple got to the lead on Chastain in the restart after Chastain had spun the rear tires. I don't know if that's because the 7 got in the back of him or if he spun them and then the 7 got in the back of him, which kind of stacked everything up well before they even got into turn 1. Cruz was inside of row 3. He was behind Sieg. He was pushing Sieg forward. Got to the inside of what was actually 4 wide for a very brief moment, and Cruz goes up the track into Sieg, and then Sieg into Allgaier. Okay, so I did not see that initially. Cruz was underneath both the 39 and the 7 into the first turn, as they were practically 4 wide there for a very brief moment. Right rear tire of Sieg actually hopped over the left front tire across the front bumper of the 7. Bit of a wild ride there for the 39. Sam Mayer goes around in a spin as he got hit from behind with the checkup. And he's got some damage. And a tough break for Ryan Sieg. Arguably one of the better days of his career. I'd say easily the best race of the season that Ryan Sieg has put together from start to about lap 250, but unfortunately our scheduled distance was not the finish of today's race. 12th caution ties the most in track history in this series, with the 2009 inaugural Iowa O'Reilly Series race. And we've had about 13 plus more laps of caution today than what we had that day. So far, and Carson Quapple will be the leader for the overtime restart number 2. Chastain scored in second, but obviously lost the lead. Austin Hill, Raja Caruth shuffling up to 3rd and 4th. And boy, a win would be massive for Raja Caruth. We saw 3 chase bubble drivers that he's racing around right now for points collected in that accident. He slides up to 4th. If he steals it, he'll be inside the chase bubble going into Daytona. He came in minus 20. And even if he doesn't win, if he gets a top 5, he's going to come out of here getting points. And then he's, maybe within like single digits going into Daytona. That is very feasible that he can make that up in one race, especially on the super speedway. Who's on pole? It was all Ryan Sieg. Sieg started on pole, and he led every lap of stage 1. Here's crew chief for Carson Quapple, Rodney Childers.
Can you survive another one, especially with the fuel that's on board still?
Yeah, rewatching the last 2 races here, it gets pretty crazy at the end of it. Just awesome job by Carson all day. We started the race a little too free, and we've been able to chip away at it and get him, pretty close here at the end. So just happy with everybody on the pro shop Chevrolet. Man, we've been in contention to win these things every week here lately, and it's a lot of fun. So hopefully we can get it done.
Now there's a fuel save going on. Are you worried yet, or do we need a few more of these until you get worried?
Yeah, if we get a few more of them, it'll get pretty close. But right now, we're okay.
All right, that's Rodney Childers going to put the headset back on. Carson Quapple leading the field here in the late stages.
That is Rodney Childers' excitement level 10.
Yeah, I will say I don't think fuel's anywhere near an issue here. We had so many caution laps at the beginning of this fuel run and the beginning of stage 3 that even though we had that long green flag run of about 45, 46 laps before the first overtime restart, they were able to save so much fuel before that. That having multiple overtimes, I don't think puts us in any kind of a situation where we're going to see guys running out of fuel. It would take a lot more restarts than this to have that become a factor. Well, we got some desperate drivers in row 2. I think Cruz maybe more on the desperate side of things, and just the ultra aggressive style of Austin Hill is going to shape up for an interesting restart. Most caution laps ran in a race at Iowa in the O'Reilly Series will be eclipsed in another lap of yellow. We're at 71 right now. That ties the record. So it'll be 72 when they get back to the line this time by. Unless they get the one to go signal. Which they might end up getting. All right, well, yep, they are going to get the one to go signal this time. Quapple will take outside row 1, no surprise. Chastain will be inside row 2. Austin Hill takes the inside of row 2. So we've seen a lot today that even the second place car will take the outside of the second row. So kind of surprising Austin Hill in third doesn't even take the outside of row 2. He's going to take the bottom, which tells me he is going to either ship the car in front of him into the first turn, or he's just going to sail it off himself to the inside. But he's got to time the restart out good. And I think the car in front of him is going to have a decent start. Can't really stack things up like we saw in the last restart if he's going to have a chance there. And how about Sawalch after a spin early in the stage? He's up inside the top 5 now in 5th. Sneaking in there. Another Chase Bubble driver alongside Carruth. Aja outside of row 2. How does this work for him? We got 3 Junior Motorsports Chevys in the front 2 rows. One of them by the wayside. Allgaier on that last restart. Here we go. Overtime number 2. Will this be the finish, and can we finish this thing under green? Green flag is going to be back in the air. Good restart for Quapple. Chastain, a little bit of his rear tires picked up off the ground. Hill got into the back of him, 3 wide for second into the first turn. Quapple's clear of the pack. Hill slides his rear tires. Up the track he goes. He's going to lose a bunch of spots off turn 2. Quapple is clear. Carruth is into second. Who gets it from here? Is it going to be Carruth or Quapple? White flag in the air, 1 lap to go as they make it off turn 4. 2 car length difference into turn 1. Clean track ahead of Carson Quapple as he gaps Carruth off turn 2 with that wider line. Big slide and nearly into the wall for Chastain in third, and Sawalch is underneath him into 3 and 4. And is going to steal away third place coming to the checker. But nobody catches Carson Quapple. Back-to-back wins for Quapple, Indy, Iowa, in the Midwest. Carson Quapple gets his first 2 career series victories in his second full-time season in back-to-back races. This one a steal here this week. Taking the lead in the first overtime restart and holding on in the second. A career-best second-place run for Raja Carruth. William Sawalch, the teenager, in third. With Ross Chastain fourth and Sheldon Creed rounding out the top 5 in 5th. A 6th place finish for Nick Sanchez. Great for that 87 team. Taylor Gray, 17. Thompson and Harrison Burton, 2 of the Sam Hunt Racing Toyotas get a top 10 today. And Brennan Poole for Alpha Prime rounding out the top 10 as well. Austin Hill fell back to 11th after going inside a 3 wide for second in the first turn. Kyle Seagu had to spin way back in stage 1, finishes 12th. Parker Retzlaff 13th. Brandon Jones struggled today. He finishes 14th. Carson Brown in his debut 15th in the 32. Brent Cruz 16th. Sammy Smith 17th. Patrick Starpoli 18th. Anthony Alfredo 19th. Blaine Perkins in 20th. Sam Mayer 21st. Joey Gase 22nd. Ryan Ellis 23rd. Justin Allgaier 24th. After leading, I believe, the most laps today, as he led 83 laps in today's race. Nathan Bird, 25th. Derek Lemke, first car lap down in 26th. Then Jeff Burke, 27th. LeVar Scott, 28th. Garrett Smithley, 29th. Jeremy Clements, 30th. Josh Bilicki, 31st. Tyler Tomasi, 32nd. Ryan Sieg, 33rd. Mason Maggio, 34th. Jesse Love, 35th. Corey Day, 36th. Carson Ware finishes out the 37-car field. Congratulations, Carson Kvapil. 2 overtimes, 2 hours, 43 minutes, and 36 seconds. Total time on the race, 12 cautions, 72 caution laps, and 7 lead changes. Most caution laps in track history, and tied for the most yellows as well. Race that was flying by, then had a lot of slow pacing in stage 3, but 2 completely different races between Indy and Iowa, and same winner in both. Sam Mayer, Justin Allgaier having a discussion. I believe that's Mayer. No, that's not Mayer. Brent Cruz? I think it was Brent Cruz on the 19 there. Kvapil on top of his car, hopping down. Crowd cheering on the front stretch. Here he is with Kid Kuhn.
Double overtime. How did you say so disciplined in those last 2 restarts?
Yeah, just I knew we had a really fast car. I knew the 7 was out fresher tires, so that was really my biggest concern there. I think the 9 probably had it. That the yellow didn't come out there at the end. I thought we were fast running them down, but we just didn't have enough there to fill the gap. But Rodney and everyone on this, Johnny Morris, and then everyone at Bass Pro Shops, Players Technologies Chevrolet with Hendrick Motors under the hood, brought a really fast race car. And unlike our first 2 stages, we were really able to run down the leaders there at the end, and just all worked out. We got that restart we needed, and we got the win.
How does number 2 feel different than 2 weeks ago in Indy?
Well, it feels really cool to win again, but not as big as Indy, I guess you'd say. But just super exciting. It just goes to show what this number 1 group has and what they bring to the racetrack. I felt like we were not the greatest in the first 2 stages, and Rodney did his touches to it and it turned us into a race-winning car.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Carson Kvapil, a winner here at Iowa Speedway.
Job well done for Carson Kvapil. Congratulations to that kid getting 2 wins in a row in the series, heating up as he continues second in points, entering the regular season finale at Daytona in a couple of weeks. So 2 weeks off for O'Reilly, their final 2 off weeks of the year, and then there'll be 11 on to the end. Trucks and Cup next weekend at Richmond, and obviously the Cup race still to come tomorrow at Iowa Speedway. We'll be live for that one at 3 p.m. Eastern, beginning with our pre-race show. Thanks for watching today's coverage of both qualifying for the Cup Series as well as NASCAR O'Reilly Series Racing. If you're new to the channel, subscribe for more NASCAR content. We do live commentary streams like this every race weekend, and we are also live throughout the Truck, O'Reilly, and Cup Series races every weekend right here on the channel, as well as Cup practice and qualifying. So 2 streams in the books today. We got 1 more tomorrow, and it will be the main event. Ryan Blaney on pole, my guy, trying to go for his 2nd win at Iowa and 3rd win of the 2026 season. Battle for the regular season title. Battle for chase supremacy continues. 4 races to go until the chase as we get back to racing for the first time in 2 weeks. Hope to see you for that. Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your Saturday night, everyone. Catch you next time.